All right, everybody, we are here. Let me just turn off the weird music.
I'm so dumb. I've been trying to join John Delarosa's ended stream for the past 5 minutes.
And he didn't let you in?
It was ended already. It was from yesterday. It was just on my direct messages. I was clicking on it and I was like, why does Megan want me to sign in with YouTube now? I'm like, okay, whatever.
I was wondering where you were. Like, okay, he's going to be super late, super gay. That's all there is to it.
Well, obviously I'm making a bagel, as you know.
Yeah, that's why the camera's off. It's the bagel making time. Bagel making, and I need to wash my hair. It's getting out of control. It looks ridiculous. I'm wearing my second Objection Hearsay t-shirt. This one is in a lighter blue. It's in denim blue. I really like this one, actually.
And I wish there was an easy way to go buy a shirt like that, because I would love to wear one as well.
Well, in actuality, there's a very easy way. You can just click on the link. Just clickety-click on the link to the merch store, and you can get right over there and get your own Objection Hearsay merch. And it comes in all kinds of things. It comes in mega pints, beer glasses, mugs, sweatshirts, wine coolers. You cannot go wrong. That's the one I'm wearing right now. At only $15.99, it's a good deal, and it supports the show. And by the way, yesterday, I lost like 3 or 4 super chats. Like they just disappeared. I read them, and then later when I went to look at them, they were gone. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Something's wrong.
That's not cool.
Yeah, I know. Hit that like button and share. If you are on Facebook, make sure that you share it. And I have a bone to pick with this audience today.
Uh-oh.
You know, your little clickety-click skills are not as good as they once were. Now, as you know, I write for pjmedia.com. My name's Megan Fox, by the way, in case you're here for the first time. And I write for pjmedia.com. Now, I give you guys instructions where I know the economy is rough right now. You can't send a super chat or a super sticker. I get it. But you can use your little finger, right? It's not broken or anything, right? You can clickety-click on your little mouse, clickety-click, because that's all I really need from you is to go over to PJ Media, go up to columnist, click on my name, clickety-click, and then read everything I write. Okay? And all you have to do is click on it. Now, yesterday's numbers, I was very, very disappointed. We didn't get anything trending that I wrote yesterday. The Amber Heard Embarks on Media Attention Tour had terrible numbers. Absolutely terrible numbers. That's all your fault.
That's sad.
Yeah, very sad. So I'm gonna send that through the wait, I'm just saying says I have scissors for hands. Oh, that's your excuse? Your excuse is that you have scissors for hands?
I was going to say, Megan, you're not being very inclusive to the people that do have broken fingers. So I'm going to have to disavow you yet again.
Okay, but that's the only excuse I'll accept is broken fingers. If your fingers
but then how'd you get on the stream in the first place?
True. If you're here, you can clickety-click Daisy. She says, OMG, I missed one. Give me a break. No breaks for you. No breaks for you. Absolutely not. Now get over there and click on it. All right. So there's something we have to talk about, though. And it is also on PJ Media. Hold on. What the hell did I just do? I'm trying to stop sharing. Okay. So guess what? I get to use my new little segment that I made. You know why?
Why?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Fake news.
Because there's fake news. There is bad fake news right now, and I love pointing out when big media gets stuff wrong. And you are going to have to go clickety-click for me again on my newest article, which is talking about fake news about Amber Heard being cut from Aquaman which she totally wasn't. Now, if you are on Twitter right now, you will see that Mira has been trending all morning.
Yeah, because it's a great time in the world to believe a Just Jared article.
Oh my God, right? Right?
What is wrong with everybody?
What is wrong with everyone that you are taking bloggers' word for things? Although I really can't, I'm not coming down on the bloggers because they're just as bad or just as good as mainstream press. Okay, let's be totally honest.
Well, yeah, but Just Jared isn't just like an individual making, news stuff. Just Jared is basically the internet equivalent of a tabloid.
Okay, from what I understand though, they've called some things right. So
yeah,
he's
but
got like
so
this
has the
track
Inquirer.
record.
Doesn't mean
Right.
anything.
All right. I thought Just Jared was just some guy. So that's what I
Yeah,
wrote.
Just Jared and all the writers with him.
I didn't realize they had a bunch of writers, because if you go to that site, it is absolute. Well, let's look at it, shall we? Let's look at the site. Can you see this? Did it pop up? No, it didn't. Hold on. Now I have to stop sharing and share again. All right, check this out. Just Jared. I mean, if you go to a site like this and you think you're going to find real news here, let me show you your first clue. Your first clue should have been that you have to click through screens. Look, I can't even scroll because of how many pop-ups there are. I'm getting stuck. If you have to click through screens to read one article, you're on a clickbait site. And if there's many, right? If you have to go to like continue here, click next, that's not real. That's like a clickbait. That's all they do is clickbait.
If the whole article isn't on one page, then go away from it.
Then don't read it. Yeah, don't believe anything
suggestion.
on it. This is the article that went viral. It says Amber Heard cut from Aquaman 2 will be recast exclusive. All right, there
exclusive.
is no exclusive bullshit.
Yeah, it's code for somebody tweeted me and said this.
Right. Okay, so you have to go to the second page to even see the claim. So now let's go to the second page.
I'm amazed that you don't have ad blocker. Is there a reason for that?
I'm so dumb. I don't know how to install any such thing.
Oh my. Have you ever clicked the extensions button on Chrome before?
Yes.
Okay. Well, next time you do, you can type in ad block.
Okay, I'll try. I know it's terrible, right? But also it gives me ideas on where to stay away from. If there's all these pop-ups, like just don't go there, man.
That's true. Not that I use ad block, because you shouldn't, especially if you're watching my videos on YouTube. Okay, continue.
So this is where he makes the claim. Warner Brothers decided to recast Amber Heard's role after screen testing the movie. They are going to be doing reshoots with Jason Momoa and Nicole Kidman, the insider shared to Just Jared, adding that the new actress would play Mira in Aquaman 2 adding that the new actress would play Mira in Aquaman 2 in any future things. All right. Then this goes viral. Okay, it goes viral. Let's stop sharing this because there's an update to it. But I want to go to my page, because I'm the one telling you the truth, not these yahoos at Just Jared. And
but they have that cool highlighter yellow logo.
Oh my God, the worst.
You gotta believe them.
The worst. All right, so let's go back over to my article now and read real news. Here's real news. All right. I said I have proof that big media is peddling fake news right now, and Twitter and Facebook aren't removing it and in fact are allowing it to trend. Please stop sharing the fake stories about Amber Heard being removed from Aquaman 2. It's fake news. So here's the update that Just Jared put on their article after it went viral. Update. Sources close to the Aquaman production have shot us an update saying Amber has not been completely cut from the film. She still has a small role. Our other sources say Amber will be recast, but we'll update our readers as more information rolls in. What? They have no idea what they're talking about.
Update. Everything we wrote was wrong.
Everything we wrote was bullshit. And you shouldn't believe it, but we're going to tell you some more bullshit because we know you will believe it, and it will be repeated all throughout the hemisphere of I mean, come on, look at this. It was already out there. But this is false, and it's too late because now Mira is trending on Twitter. Everyone using the hashtag believes that the character that she plays in Aquaman 2 is not going to be played by Heard, but that's false. Warner Brothers never discussed this issue at all. They've made no public statement, and I've reached out to them asking for one, despite almost 5 million people asking to have Heard removed from the film. But that has not stopped big media from cashing in on the fake news they accuse independent outlets of using, like us. Look what the Daily Mail did. In the clickbait version of the headline, they wrote, Amber Heard is being cut from Aquaman 2 and her role will be recast, sources claim. But when you click on it, here's their actual headline. Amber Heard denies she's been cut from Aquaman 2. Actress brands rumors insensitive and insane hours after she repeated defamatory claims on Today's Show that Johnny Depp beat her. Now look at these pictures. Wait, did it just go over to Twitter?
And even to be, well, not to be fair to Amber, but to be fair to these things in general, is that a spokesperson for her said that, which I know that people are like, spokesperson means that you speak for that person. I get it. But I still think there's a distinction that should be made in a headline. That's all.
Jacqueline wants to know, why not just remove the article? You mean the one on Just Jared? Because people don't do that. Media, most of the time, like if you get something wrong, you don't remove it because you want a record of it being there. So what you do is you add an update or a correction. Jared should have added a correction. It should have been not just an update, but a correction. A retraction is what it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, and also look at all those ads. They want those clicks. They want you to click on it so you can find out what you clicked on
just
is
like
not
me.
true.
Clickety-click, clickety-click, clickety-click. But in my case, I'm actually giving you real news, so I deserve the clicks.
Exactly.
Unlike Just Jared, who's just messing with you. And I put on Twitter, if you're at my if you're on my Twitter at Megan Fox Writer on Twitter, you can see that I put pictures of these ridiculous headlines so that you can see what they did. And it's just stupid. I said, this is one more example of big media manipulating the public and reporting garbage for clicks. Meanwhile, Twitter is letting it trend and has not added misinformation to the multitude of news stories reporting false facts. But if you dare report what Hunter Biden has on his laptop, you can be banned, even though that's all true. But I just want you guys to remember, the next time you hear the phrase fake news, you should be thinking of Daily Mail and mainstream press, because they are the ones who are doing fake news to you. So I dropped my link in there again. I want you to clickety-click on it, please, so that the Daily Mail doesn't get all the clicks for their fake news story. Somebody else should get the clicks, and that should be me. I'm the one telling you what's real.
Perfect logic.
Floss says he wants a song with me saying clickety-click.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to have to work those into the Megan Fox lyrics.
God, I hate fake news. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Who doesn't, though? You know, I feel like everybody does. This is like when you see those articles that are like... I had an example and I forgot it, so never mind.
Oh, I like the ones where they're like hacks, life hacks. And then they show you a picture of something that looks interesting, and then you go click on it, and that picture never appears anywhere in the entire article.
That one's really good. That one's really good. Like those ones that are like, yo, you'll never believe what this childhood actor is doing now. Those things are good. Yeah,
Right.
the YouTube channel 5 Second Crafts, or 5 Minute Crafts, it's one of those two. One of the best YouTube channels of all time. But
Really?
they give, well, no, they give, they give life hacks that are so stupid that I think the channel is a parody channel, but they have so many views and like subscribers and positive comments that I think everyone's been duped. But they'll be like,
this is like how they do on Facebook. There's this one account that does like fake crafts, and they're all ridiculous things you would never do, like ruining a wedding dress with melted wax crayons.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
the videos go on for so long, and like you get hooked into watching them just to see what the heck is going to happen, and they get like hundreds of thousands of views, and nothing ever happens in them. I don't know why I get roped into watching these things, but I do. It happens.
One of the best 5 Minute Crafts is where they take a fork and they like melt the prongs
Yes,
together so it becomes a spoon.
I've seen something like that.
And I'm like, that's pretty good. And what a great hack.
I saw one where they were doing what were they making? Oh, something with glue sticks and toothbrushes. She had like cut off toothbrushes and like filed them. And I'm like, what is this? What is she making? And there's literally nothing. She wasn't making anything. She was just making a mess. Did you see the one where they melt the crayons in the waffle iron? And you think,
yeah,
this is a hack. This must be a hack for something. And then no, you're just ruining a waffle iron.
Great hack. Life hack.
Life hack. Yes, they were making shivs out of toothbrushes.
Yeah.
Clickety click, don't talk back. Oh my gosh. I want to know, have you been marked safe today from believing that Johnny Depp has scissors for fingers?
I still believe it.
I found this on Facebook today. Someone had this up. Marked safe from believing Johnny Depp really has scissors from fingers today. We all need that in our profile photos.
Wow, that's amazing.
Judy, thank you for mentioning that. Actually, she says, "Have you listened to the Eminem song? That's not a real Eminem song, isn't it? Somebody just like it's supposed to be about Amber. I think it's someone impersonating him. I don't think that's actually him. I think that's again fake news.
If it's not from an official Eminem social media channel, then it ain't real, man.
It's not real. It's just someone who does like impressions. So okay, are we ready for this part 2?
Do you want to see? Did you see my beautiful Twitter thread of why Amber Turd exists?
No, let's do that.
Go to my profile and you should see a big thread.
Okay, hold on.
Pull it up just for some levity before we get into this nightmare.
Oh, okay. Wait, do you want me to read it or do you want to read it?
You can read it. That's fine.
Okay.
I got a bagel to make.
You got a bagel. You still haven't made that bagel?
It's in the oven.
Oh, he says. Amber Turd. I finally get it. Because herd can be mistakenly spelled herd, as in a herd of cattle. Cattle are bovines, which rhymes with no vine because the app Vine was shut down on January 8th, 2017, 1/18/17, using a standard alphanumeric code that spells ARQ, which is a movie from 2016 starring Robbie Amell, who was also in The Babysitter with Sweeving. Weaving is also often done to make wicker baskets. And the most popular type of basket in the world is a picnic basket, which we all know Yogi Bear loves. Yogi is a term for someone who practices yoga, which spelled backwards is Agoy, which is a company that is known for its line of towels called Gecko. A gecko is the mascot for Geico, which has a series of commercials starring a caveman that was so popular it got its own show on ABC. ABC is one of the most well-known Jackson 5 songs. There are 5 points to a star, and a star is an astronomical object comprising a luminous spheroid of plasma held together by its gravity. The theory of gravity was first introduced by Isaac Newton, the second most popular Newton behind Fig Newtons. Figs are green, and Amber Heard's mirror costume is also green. Mira was in Aquaman 2, and number 2 is slang for poop. Hence, Amber Turd. It all makes sense now.
Perfect logic. Perfect logic.
You know, that's less fake news than the fake news that's going around about Amber Heard.
I finally understood. I didn't get the joke until now.
All right. Well, thanks to Colonel Kurtz. She put up, we don't have to deal with the Today Show. I'm using Colonel Kurtz's video because she put up, which, by the way, Colonel Kurtz has a really good YouTube channel where she does a lot of investigating into a lot of these different things. She's got a lot of interesting stuff on the Marilyn Manson case, which admittedly I don't know much about, and I really dislike Marilyn Manson as a person, as a performer, and I think he got himself into a lot of this trouble that he's in. However, it's interesting to hear if he is being set up by a bunch of women trying to, pull an Amber Heard. It's going to be fun to watch. So you guys should check out Colonel Kurtz because she's great. All right. She put up the second part of the interview without commentary, so we can piggyback off that without having to go to the Today Show that wants to keep us from it for some reason. I don't know why you do these interviews and then you don't want us to see them.
Yeah, they want us to tune into Dateline or something.
It's so weird. Like, you want us to watch it somewhere else? You don't want the clicks? I don't know. I don't understand, but that's what we're going to do. All right, so here we go. Are you ready for this? Are you emotionally prepared for this?
Oh my God, 9 minutes and 38 seconds.
We could be here for 4 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say in 4 hours we'll be done.
Oh God, no, I don't think so. I think maybe we will just have nothing to say about this anymore. I mean,
sure.
What more could there be to say?
Correct.
Was hard to ignore. Every accusation aired for the world to see, and reaction on social media getting billions of views. Well, after the verdict, largely in favor of Depp, Heard called it a setback for other women who wanted to speak up. And now she says she fears other potential defamation lawsuits from her ex-husband as she looks to move forward.
Well, maybe she should stop defaming him. I don't know.
Yeah, it might not be the best idea to lose a case for defamation and then say, actually, I'm going to triple down.
Actually, he did beat me every day. And I'm not sorry.
I'm going to say it again on a different platform. That way Dateline can get sued.
There's a text message where Johnny promises total global humiliation for you.
Which is nothing less than she deserves.
Do you feel like that came true?
He's a man of his word.
Look at this face. Can we just look at the response? Look how long it takes her to respond to this. She's like, I have to work up the proper emotion.
Mm-hmm.
The Botox is not allowing my eyebrows to knit together. So I gotta work it up. Work it up. Here
for
it goes.
You. Do you feel like that came true? I know he promised it.
Shaky breath. Did you hear that? I just choked.
Sound like Darth Vader for a second. That shoot pretty cool.
I know he promised it. I testified to this. I'm not a good victim. I get it. I'm not a likable victim. I'm not a perfect victim, but
you're not a victim at all, dear. That's the problem.
Did you see the Popcorn Planet video?
Which one?
Where he's playing this clip, and then he switched to the part of her on the stand saying, "I've never referred to myself as a victim.
As a victim.
And I never would."
No, I didn't see that.
Seems like she's fine with it now.
Yeah, now all of a sudden she's a victim, but she's not a perfect victim. Find those tears, girl. No, she can't even pull up tears. Not even now. Not even after she owes someone $8 million.
Yeah, she actually has something to cry about.
She can't. She can't dig up any tears. It's so sad. All right, moving on.
When I testified, I asked the jury to just see me as human and hear his own words, which is a promise to do this. It feels as though he has.
Amber Heard reflecting.
Can I just say that liars deserve global humiliation. People who set other people up for destruction deserve global humiliation. They deserve every single second of it.
Correct.
Period. Period.
On the ripple effects of her tumultuous trial with Johnny Depp. Having been found liable, are you nervous as we are here today about what you can say now?
Of course. I took for granted what I assumed was my right to speak.
Do you feel like you could be sued again by him for defamation?
I'm scared that no matter what I do, no matter what I say or how I say it, every step that I take will present another opportunity for this sort of silencing.
Give me a break. You know what, lady? You would not be sued if you would not speak about these lies.
I don't know. That math doesn't check out. I think I'll continue to lie.
Yeah, like, are you scared of being sued again? Yes. But he beat me, and he beat me repeatedly. Like, what? You're not. You're obviously not scared of it.
Well, nothing bad happened to her the first time she did it, so might as well try it again.
Well, not yet. I
Another
mean, she
10
does
million.
owe $8 million. So I don't know if he'll actually get it from her. But
How does that work out legally? Do they just like deduct it, or do they actually have to pay each other? 'Cause it seems like a waste of time.
It depends on California because that's the collection state. So it depends on what their rules are. Some states actually will just delete the money that you owe her from the amount she owes you. But it just depends. And I don't know what they do. So
Well, if it's California and that money is taxed, then they definitely have to pay each other. Because California, they love their state taxes. I don't know.
Do they get taxes on lawsuit winnings?
I can't imagine they would. I can't imagine they would. But if they do, then they will certainly have to pay it.
That would be so insane to tax that money. Light Giver, thank you for the super chat, says, when does Amber's head start spinning in circles like The Exorcist? That's a good question. Oh, and by the way, there is a poll for you. If you're on YouTube, there's a poll. It's biggest bombshell from yesterday's interview. Amber Heard hasn't caught on fire yet. Johnny doesn't have scissors for fingers. And we're all still watching this bitch. Is winning by 50%. That's the biggest surprise from yesterday.
True.
Oh my gosh. It never ends. All right, here we go.
Which is what I guess a defamation lawsuit is meant to do. It's meant to take your voice.
There goes the sneer again. There's that sneer again, that contemptuous sneer that she talks out of the side of her mouth.
Which is what I guess a defamation lawsuit is meant to do. It's meant to...
Ugh. I can't stand that face.
So is she saying that no one should ever sue anyone for defamation, ever?
Yes. So yeah, defamation lawsuits are not to silence you. Defamation lawsuits are to repair the damage to the reputation of the person you lied about. It's not to silence you. It's so that you get a repercussion for lying about someone and spreading and bearing false witness against your neighbor. Ridiculous.
Defaming them, if you will.
Defaming them. Oh my gosh. Why do they let her get away with this? I wish I could interview this witch. I would do a much better job, I think. Because
you should probably not call her a witch if you want her to join. Send her the link on Twitter.
Send it to David Grabash Shane.
To take your voice.
But Amber is still speaking just days after a jury stunned many and found the actress defamed Depp in an op-ed where she said she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. The piece, which never mentioned Depp by name, was published 2 years after the couple announced they had settled their divorce. Life had seemingly moved on, and you decide to write an op-ed. Why did you do that?
Because the op-ed wasn't about my relationship with Johnny.
What? I'm sorry, but this is like the third different story she's told about this op-ed. On the stand, she said it was about him, and it was about how powerful he was and how he got away with everything. Didn't she?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is just so dumb. Like, yes, obviously.
Yes, obviously. I'm so annoyed. So. I am so annoyed by this.
That's why I wrote the article about Johnny. Blah, blah, blah. Why are you here, Amber? I'm here because of an op-ed I wrote about my ex-husband. Okay, well, case closed, I guess.
Case closed. We can all go home.
First question and you're done.
Oh my gosh. So again, we're back to it wasn't about him.
But it alluded to him. It was unmistakable.
What the op-ed was about was, me loaning my voice to a bigger cultural conversation that we were having at the time.
Did you worry? Gosh, I'd love to be a person weighing in on these cultural issues, but that's going to stir this all up again.
I obviously knew it was important for me not to make it about him or...
Wait, can I refresh your memory that in one of the emails to the ACLU, Amber Heard asked in her own words, is there any way that we can put more about him in this article? Do you remember that?
Yeah, and I'm also going to say that it's very telling that she said a conversation that we were having at the time, which just goes further to show that she doesn't actually care. She just cared because it was trending on Twitter. That's
it was
it.
trending, and she wanted to be involved in that trending. She wanted her 15 minutes of fame, if you will.
She doesn't care about the Me Too movement. She doesn't care about Weinstein and all these, terrible people in Hollywood that were doing terrible things. She didn't care about that. It was trending.
It was trending. She had to add her voice to that conversation.
Yeah, that we were having at the time.
Because that's how she gets, headlines written about her. Yeah, Golden Green says, it was just me jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly. Because as we all know, now sexual misconduct is completely out of Hollywood and it doesn't exist anywhere anymore.
Jacqueline says it was unmistakable, LOL. Yeah, that was good that she said that. I was glad that Savannah said that.
Savannah's going in on this interview. I actually like it a lot.
Pretty good. It's pretty good. But there are things that I wish they didn't do the edits the way they did. I felt like the edits from the last part were way too many edits.
Well, if you tune into Dateline, then you can see.
When she said, well, I'm not a lawyer, and she started stuttering, boy, I wanted to hear the rest of that. Like, let her trip on her own garbage. Let her go. Let her talk. This is why live interviews are always so much better. Live, everything is better. Because you will hear people, you'll hear what they really mean. Editing it's rough. You can't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Savannah's not staying neutral though. She's really being like, no, you're wrong about that.
Right. Sean Kohlmeyer, who comes on this program sometimes, he texted me and he said towards the end of the interview, you could tell that she had studied the interviewer. She knew it was going downhill and she was trying to adapt to the interviewer, like trying to adapt to Savannah, and it wasn't working. Like you could just tell. And I knew there was something going on at the end there. It was it's interesting to think that she's constantly trying to adapt to whoever she's talking to. But it doesn't seem to be working with Savannah.
No.
Karen wants to know, why are we doing this? Amber is still not convincing. I hope JD is able to shut this all off. She really needs medication. Why are we doing this? I don't know. I can't answer that question. I can't stand this woman. I hate her voice. I hate her face. But I can't stop watching this. Do you have an answer, Gadfly?
Yeah. It's because Elaine went on her little media tour.
Mm-hmm.
It was going real bad. And so someone told her, hey, stop that. Don't go on any more news shows. You sound insane, and you're calling the jury a bunch of losers and liars. She went, okay, I'll stop. And then Amber went, I can do it. I'm the best in the whole world. And Rottenborn was probably like, no, please don't. And they're like, okay, Rottenborn, you do it. He went, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Notice how Rottenborn is nowhere to be found.
No.
Like, he just went back to like whatever case he's working on next. And he's like, Amber who? I don't know. Oh, man. I don't get it.
Yeah, so that's why.
And we can't stop watching it while it's... look, if the Amber show is on, I got to tell you, I'm going to watch it. Because I don't think I have ever, and I mean ever in my whole life, seen anything as batshit crazy as this. Have you? I'm trying to plug my computer. It's not working.
Have I?
Yeah, have you ever seen anybody act like this? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anyone as shameless as this woman. And I think it's the shamelessness that brings me in.
Yeah. It is pretty crazy. I think she just egos got out of control. It's the same reason why she took the stand the second time. She should have said, no, I'm not taking the stand again because it went really poorly for me last time. But I don't think she thinks it went poorly for her. I'm not even sure if she thinks this interview went bad. She might have gone to the car after the interview and been like, well, that was great. Excellent.
Jennifer says, Amazon just delivered my copy of Believe Evidence. I can't wait to read it this weekend. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad you got it. If you guys want to pick up your copy, it's on Amazon right now. Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process from Salome to #MeToo by yours truly, me. And I have been writing about the Me Too movement and how dangerous it is for years. And it is a good book, and it will talk you through why Me Too is so dangerous. Julie says, because we love making fun of her. That's why we're still doing this.
Yeah.
Perhaps. And everybody loves a good train wreck. That's also true. And I think that I look at this as like a true crime story happening in real life that we've been following. And to me, it's like, this is one of the reasons I'm attracted to true crime, is because I want to be able to recognize these psychos when I see them. And we have gotten such an up close look at someone with her particular pathologies that I feel like I could recognize. I feel like even just watching her, I've recognized other people that I know who have these problems. I've been like, oh, so that's what's wrong. You know, like, oh, maybe they're borderline, maybe they're histrionic, because this is something we've never seen before. And it's just, to me, it's very interesting. So
it really is. You don't see like that many celebrities just like destroy themselves live on camera.
No, in fact, the last time was probably that Charlie Sheen interview, you know, the Tiger's Blood one that was hilarious that we all watched. And we're like,
but at least it was funny and like just weird.
It was funny. And then Shmoyoho made a song out of it, which is still one of my favorites, about winning.
It's great.
It's a great song. Yeah.
To do anything like defame him, I had lawyers, teams of lawyers,
bad
review
lawyers,
all the drafts of this.
When you wrote this op-ed, it was
okay. Yeah, that's so funny. How she's like, no, I didn't defame anyone because I had teams of lawyers look it over. Teams of lawyers. Well, they were bad lawyers. Hey guys, there are 666 of you, and that's freaking me out. Can you please share the stream so that we have more than 666? Because that I don't want to see the number 666 trending across my screen when this woman is on. That's terrifying. Share the stream, please, so we can increase that number. Oh, good. It went down to 656. That's better. Thank you. So a couple people
10 of you left. Oh, fine, Megan. You don't want me to view it? Fine. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm leaving. Oh, man. All right. Keep going.
Height of Me Too. Legions of powerful men being canceled, losing their jobs. Did you want that to happen to Johnny Depp?
Of course not.
Lies.
Why not?
Okay, lies.
Wait, why not though? If the story is true, why would you not want that?
Right?
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And I'm going to the article right now, her Washington Post column. And I want to read to you the part where she absolutely tells Hollywood she wants that to happen to him. Let's see. Where is it? It is right here. Friends and advisors told me. Oh, wait. Nope. That's not the paragraph. Here it is. I had the rare vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Now, which institutions was she talking about? She was talking about Hollywood. Then she goes on to say, imagine a powerful man as a ship like the Titanic. That ship is a huge enterprise. When it strikes an iceberg, there are a lot of people on board desperate to patch up holes, not because they believe in or even care about the ship, but because their own fates depend on the enterprise. In recent years, the Me Too movement has taught us about how power like this works, not just in Hollywood, but in all kinds of institutions, workplaces, places of worship, simply in particular communities, in every walk of life. Women are confronting these men who are buoyed by social, economic, and cultural power. And these institutions are beginning to change. She's calling on them to change. She's calling on them to retaliate against this man she says is so powerful that everyone's covering up for him in Hollywood. I don't believe. No, yes, she did want him to lose his jobs. Yes, she did. Baloney.
Of course not. It wasn't about him.
Baloney.
But the op-ed and the abuse alleged was at the heart of the
I wish they had played her on the stand saying, I wrote that article about my ex-husband.
6-week trial.
Just pulls his arm back with the phone and throws it at my face. Hit me right in it felt like my eye.
Heard testified that the final straw came after a violent fight in May 2016. 6 days later, she filed for a restraining order, cameras capturing her as she left the courthouse. But Depp's lawyers convinced the jury Heard was lying about the abuse. Police who responded to the 2016 incident testified during the trial that they didn't see any injuries and that Heard declined to file charges.
This was a hoax, is according to his team. Why didn't I cooperate with the police? As I've testified before, and I will stand by until my dying day, I didn't want to cooperate with them. I didn't want this to be out. I didn't want this to be known. Okay,
I don't believe that either. Because in her extortion letter that she wrote, or that her lawyer wrote, let's see if I can find it. Extortion letter, divorce. She literally tells her, whatchamacallit, wait, hold on. Her lawyer told Johnny, we'll keep this quiet if you give her what she wants. So she didn't have any problem, no problem at all, going public. She was basically using it as a weapon. Here's from the letter. Amber wishes to work quickly towards a private and amicable resolution of all matters, but she will need Johnny's immediate cooperation to do so. What does that mean to you, Gadfly?
It sounds like she's demanding something.
Yeah, and then she says, we are indeed hopeful that we can swiftly work out mutually acceptable short and long-term solutions outside of the public eye. I mean, she literally makes it an issue, the being public or not, in this divorce demand letter where she says, give me penthouses 1, 3, and 5. I need the Range Rover. I need $14 million, cover all my attorney's fees, or we will go public. So she didn't have a problem going public. She was using it as a weapon, trying to get her divorce assets that she wanted. It's absolutely baloney that she's sitting here telling you she didn't want this. She didn't want this made public.
I didn't want this.
Oh, shit. Hello, Sean Kohlmeyer. Welcome to the stream. How are you today? Coming from your bike path office?
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I just had to turn off the other ones. Yeah, I'm all right. You know?
Tell me what you were saying when you were texting me about the way her face looked as she at the end of the interview with Savannah Guthrie.
Do you believe her now, Sean? Has she convinced you?
No. No.
I can't believe it.
So I watched a clip, the first clip from yesterday. It was sent to me by a friend. And at the end there, well, maybe we can just play it. But you can literally watch her look at Savannah, and you see her face sort of morph. And she's, talking about how she feels that she, is this victim and how she feels about this situation. And you can watch that she's doing this at a non-conscious level. Her face is changing in the way that she thinks, she appears, would trigger all of those sympathetic responses from her listener. And what I think is most interesting about that is that people with these particular mental health issues, and I saw this I've seen this with my ex-wife, whom I believe has this issue, that they're really clued into this at a level they probably don't even think about, and they believe what they're doing, right? Like someone is saying, just like a shapeshifter, like a doppelganger. I said like a chameleon adapting to their environment. Right. And, they believe that this is going to get the other person to believe them, and they're reading their nonverbal cues. You should really play it again. Yeah. All
right. Well, we'll get there. We're not at the end yet, but we'll get there. And then you can point out what you're looking at.
Want to cooperate with them because I didn't want this to be, I didn't want to get him in trouble. If it was a hoax, I could have done that.
But 5 days later, you went to court.
Wait, if it was a hoax, I could have done that? What does that mean? If it was a hoax, I could have gone public, used the police. Maybe she didn't want to use the police because it was a hoax, and she was concerned they were going to figure it out. I mean, I just don't understand this explanation of why I didn't call the police, why I didn't cooperate with the police. No.
Well, it's probably because, people know that filing a false police report is a crime.
Maybe.
What people don't know is that police officers very rarely take reports for filing a false police report, partially because, particularly against women who claim that they were victims of domestic violence, particularly because they know that prosecutors' offices won't actually pursue those cases. So they're kind of like, I'm not going to waste my time doing that, spend a bunch of effort and energy writing someone up for filing false police reports, and then it's going to go nowhere.
Right. It's going to go nowhere. Right.
Right. So it's really a problem with the prosecutor's office. So everyone who actually, is concerned about this is the sorts of things that you should be writing to your prosecutor's office about. You should be asking prosecutors when they're running for election. You should say, when was the last time you brought perjury charges against somebody who lies in,
Totally.
family court, or, that, you pursued a false police report case against someone who filing false police reports.
Totally.
That's probably why she's not, doing it, because she's concerned about that. But
yeah, thanks Sapphire for the super sticker. I appreciate that.
And it came out.
5 days later, I made the decision to stand up for myself and protect myself. You can't get a restraining order in private, which of course I didn't understand the night when the cops were called.
An employee of TMZ testified at court and said that TMZ was tipped off about when you were going to be going to the courthouse and on what side of your face bruises would be apparent. Did you tip off TMZ?
I was going to say, you certainly didn't get tipped off by me or anyone in my...
tip off TMZ?
Why would they? No.
You ask.
What? Why would they? Well, to further this story of yours, to get out in front of the press and make sure that you got your story out first. What do you mean, why would they? So that you could defame your ex-husband. That's why. So you could get a leg up in the divorce. That's why. It's not like false accusations of abuse and domestic violence are so unheard of during a divorce dispute. They're not. Eve Barlow's rotten crotch sent a super sticker. Maybe his scissor fingers just felt like a bottle. Perhaps. I'm not sure. Thank you for the super chat.
Disavow.
I never do super chats. No. I'll just read them. They're not my words. I can read it. So I do think though that that's exactly why she did it. How can she sit there and say, "Oh no, none of us did"? And here's the thing that bothers me about Savannah here. She needs to shoot back at her and say, "Hey, they testified that no one without the copyright could have given them that video, and how could they be at the courthouse? They weren't waiting at the courthouse for random stars to walk in or out. How are you saying this?" I just don't. I just wish she had done that.
One of the symptomologies of people with personality disorders, and depending upon which personality you're talking about, is that many of them are pathological liars. And the thing about being a pathological liar is they lie all the time. They weave a web of lies, and they don't even know that they know that they're lying, but they then believe their lies because they feel so emotionally strong about something, and their emotional reality becomes their subjective reality. So, she's over here lying her pants off, right? And saying, "Oh, I didn't tip off TMZ." And in the bizarro, magical land, between Mordor and Gondor that she lives in, right? That's what she believes.
This is crazy. This is crazy crap.
No one to do that.
As I testified to before, it had nothing to do with me.
There are different incidents that you testified to, and the Depp legal team would put up pictures of you publicly right after that or in the days following and saying that why are there no bruises?
Again, it's that thing. If you have bruising, if you have injuries, it's fake. If you don't have any, then you weren't injured.
We didn't see any injuries on you, Amber. None.
No, I mean, if you fake injuries, with editing your photo in Photos, then it's fake.
She's trying to say that if women don't have evidence, then they're lying, and if they do have evidence, then they faked it. But really, Amber, the only woman that's being accused of that right now is you. There's not like a rash of women reporting domestic violence right now where people are saying, "Oh, they faked their evidence." No, it's just you, Like, it's not. We're not suggesting other people are doing this. Just you, because we saw your evidence and it sucks.
You had promised to donate the $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity. It was revealed at trial that you haven't done so yet. However, they played a tape where you stayed on the air that you have donated it. Do you think that raised questions as to your credibility with the jury?
I made a pledge, and that pledge is made over time by its nature.
When
And
you say I donated, you know that everybody thinks that you've donated it, not that you've pledged it. So for the jurors sitting there, do you think they felt like that was you getting caught in a lie?
I don't know, because I feel like so much of the trial was meant to cast aspersions on who I am as a human.
Yes, it's about establishing
Cast
your credibility.
aspersions.
It's about establishing your credibility, Amber. That's exactly what the entire trial was about. Yes.
That's what every person on the stand was there for. I mean, that's like basically they would establish their credibility, then they'd say their thing. The other team would try to discredit them, and that's basically what a
This
trial
entire
is now.
trial was about, is she lying or not?
Well,
And so
yeah, that.
if you can prove that she lied about one thing, there's a legal argument that says if you lie about one thing, you lie about everything. So you can't, that does hurt your credibility. Yes. The idea that she can't even answer that as yes, that hurt my credibility is so crazy to me.
Ego.
Have you noticed that she cannot wrap her mouth around the words that I lied?
No.
Right?
She
Or
couldn't even say I
got that wrong.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have used those words. I shouldn't have said that on television.
I
you know?
misrepresented what I did for the donation. I actually only pledged it.
Yeah, she couldn't even get as well as her, as her psychologist. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Yeah. Right. Right. I misspoke. How easy would it have been for her to just say I misspoke?
Right. I mean, at least that guy, he had Ozzy Osbourne's tongue. Right. He could actually say I misspoke. Amber can't say I lied, I misspoke, I did it, The only thing she can do is speak
I made a
in
mistake.
generalities.
Yeah,
Well,
and the
she
reason
didn't.
why she said what she said on that television show was because to garner sympathy and to boost her credibility. That's the only reason why she did it. She said what she said so that people would stop saying she's a gold digger, even though she completely lied and did not give that money to sick and dying children. Holy hell, what a terrible person. She's going to hell.
So
Yeah.
much of the trial was meant to cast aspersions on who I am as a human,
Yes.
my credibility, to call me a liar, and in every way you can. And
No, to show you are a liar, to prove that you are a liar, because that's what this whole thing was about.
Yeah, and she's saying it as if like her answer is always, well, you just don't understand what I was saying. And it's your fault.
Always. You didn't hear it correctly.
Yeah. You
was
should
the
know
trial.
that when I
It
say
was
I
a
donated
credibility
it, I meant I
contest.
pledged it.
and
That was it.
This is another one of the examples where if you pull back and you think about it, I shouldn't have to have donated it in an effort to be believed. I shouldn't have had to earmark the entirety of that in order to have.
You shouldn't have.
What?
But you said you were going to. That's the problem. No one said you had to do it in the first place.
Right. Yet do you notice she doesn't even ever say, I changed my mind. My situation's changed, and I looked into the future, and I thought there's a possibility this could all go very badly for me, and I might not be earning millions of dollars on movies anymore. And maybe this is the last, $7 million that I'm ever going to see. And that's a lot of money. And I want to put that away, for my, own future. She didn't even say that.
No, and the idea that now she's trying to backpedal by saying, I shouldn't have to give away the entirety to prove that I'm not a gold digger or to prove that I didn't lie. I shouldn't have to. So she feels justified in reneging on her pledge to give money to sick and dying children because she feels she was wronged somehow by society that made her feel pressured to donate that money. But whose idea was it, Amber? It wasn't the public's idea that you donate that money. It was yours. And
Right.
you only said you were going to do it because you wanted to improve your public image. I mean, this whole thing is crazy.
It doesn't. I don't understand. She could have can I be her PR person instead? I don't want to be, but if I could, I would be like you should have just said, yes, I did pledge that. I donated what I could, which was a $350 or $250,000, and my financial situation's changed. I wasn't getting as much work as I thought I was going to get, and I thought I should put this money aside for myself and for my child. That's all.
Little Galaxy
The
says,
end.
Amber grew attached to the money. She feared it leaving her.
Yeah. I mean, she
Yes.
would have been looked at as bad. She could have said, yes, it was the wrong thing to do. I spoke too early, and I
Yeah.
shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, but she can't even do that. That's
Can't
what
do
these
that.
people, these people have this problem that they cannot take responsibility, and they deny responsibility for anything. Then they deny that they're denying responsibility. They can only speak in these very broad, generalized, terms of saying, oh, I'm a human being. I'm not perfect, right? They can, like she says to her, she says, Johnny and I were horrible to each other. Okay, so she's putting herself in the exact same group as the person that she's saying is horrible. She can only speak in these really generalized terms, but she can't come out and say, what I did on this day here was wrong, and I'm ashamed of it, and I've learned a lesson from it, and other people should learn from my mistakes as well. She can't do that. She cannot take responsibility for what it is that she's done, and that's really her mental health issue.
I love what Mark says here. Look, you guys don't understand because you left your psychopath, pathological liar, Me Too thesaurus at home. Yes, I do feel like I need a dictionary of her terms to understand what the hell she's saying, because it's so incomprehensible to not just say, I shouldn't have used the words pledged and donated synonymously. That was wrong.
Yeah, that's all she had to say, really. She could have said, oh, I said the wrong thing. Honestly, I did.
And I feel really bad. I feel really bad about it. And yes, it affected my credibility, and that was a mistake. But
I mean, that'd be such a human thing to say, so she can't say that.
God, she wants to believe that, oh, no, I didn't make any mistakes. And the jury just thinks I'm not credible because it's Johnny's fault, not mine. It wasn't anything I did.
Yeah, and if you don't understand what I meant by it, then you're stupid.
Look, I don't know how Savannah is getting through this, but she's getting as annoyed as we are, I think, which is interesting. Let's see what else she has to say.
But once you said you did.
Right, which is where it was intended to go.
She keeps trying to bring her back to it.
Believed I shouldn't have had to earmark the entirety of that in order to have.
You shouldn't have, but once you said you did.
Right, which is where it was intended to go.
Heard says she still plans to honor that pledge.
How do you see your future now?
How the hell are you going to do that?
I get to be a mom, full time, where I'm not having to juggle calls with lawyers.
One day you may want to tell your daughter about this or have to tell your daughter about everything that you've gone through. What would you?
Don't worry, TikTok will tell her.
What to say?
I think no matter what, it will mean something.
What?
I did the right thing.
What? No matter what, it will mean something.
Did everything I could.
This is, again, her talking in these weird ways where you don't know what she's saying. No matter what, it will mean something. What does that even mean? That is word salad.
No matter what I do, it'll exist.
I hate these hard cuts as well. The editing is bad. I want to hear her ramble on as well. And don't worry, those of you who are worried about that child, don't worry. She will get sick of mothering very soon, because mothering is a very difficult job, and it requires that you are not drugged or drinking to get through it. And that means that she will just hand that child over to a nanny, and that that child will be raised by a nanny, and she will just use it for pictures on Instagram. So don't worry. She won't actually be doing the mothering for that kid. That's not going to happen.
No, and I mean, that kid's not going to be able to grow up without learning about it. You know what I mean?
No, she's going to learn the second she gets a TikTok account. It's fine. She'll figure it out. And that's going to be a pretty bad day when that kid realizes that, oh my God, my mom was rich and famous and had everything, and then she did this to my life. Yeah, I don't know. I
bet Amber will monetize her her base that she somehow still has, and she'll probably do like some sort of like, you know, online show or whatever, and that'll probably be what she does. I would imagine that seems like the most normal thing to do.
You think her career as an actress, as a real actress, is just done?
It's at least done for a while.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not, but I just think that like a studio has there's so many, you know, Amber Heard's just not like a special kind of actress. So
I think it depends.
Like she's irreplaceable. So
I think it depends. I think it depends on how Aquaman 2 goes. If people go and see it and she's in it, I think this will all blow over and she will be back in the movies, especially because the kind of eyeballs Amber Heard can draw. Even if it's hate watching, people are hate watching her. Look at the numbers on this Today Show interview. There's almost 1,000 people in this live chat right now. People will watch her whether or not she's a crazy liar. Maybe they're watching her because she is a crazy liar. I don't know. But I think, yes, she will get hired again because Hollywood has no morals. They have no moral compass, and they don't punish women for being abusers, period.
I heard that she was completely cut out of Aquaman.
Nope, that was fake news. That was fun. Again, I'm going to have to play this. Fake news. We covered that at the beginning of this stream that you may have missed, but I've written an article about how that's fake news on pjmedia.com. And if those of you who enjoy what I do and enjoy not being lied to in the press, you can go over there and I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you, and you can go clickety click, and it doesn't cost you a dime, but it pays my bills and it puts food on the table, and for that I'm eternally grateful. And you can go read after you're out of here and share on social media, please, and about all the fake news that has been circling about Amber Heard. Warner Brothers has not removed her, and they're not going to, and they don't care that 5 million of you want her out of it. They're not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
So she's still in Aquaman, and so your theory is that her movie career may recover from that.
Yeah, especially if the numbers don't. If Aquaman 2 opening weekend isn't any different than normal than Aquaman 1, if it doesn't bomb at the box office, then yeah, she'll get roles again. And in fact, some movie makers will think, hey, people will definitely come out to see her just because she's so crazy. So let's cast her in this movie where maybe she gets murdered brutally, and people will come to see that because that would be hilarious. You know, right. Kind of like. But I mean, I just think
plays a crazy person in the movie.
Right. Clickety sympathy. Yep, exactly.
What's that old phrase? There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's usually not true when it comes to being an abuser, though, especially these days. But apparently,
not if you're a man.
Not if you're a man.
But if you're a woman and you still triple down on this ridiculous narrative that you're still a victim of something, none of these people in Hollywood are brave enough to cut her out. I really don't think they are. She's going to have a career.
Again, Aquaman was mostly popular overseas. It's the Chinese audience they're really banking on. So I don't think... I mean, I'm sure that there are some people in China that have watched the trial, but most of them probably have not. And they're just going to go see the movie anyway because it's Aquaman.
Yeah, I hope not. I'm not going to see it. And I was going to see it, but I'm not going to.
But what's your $300 million compared to the $1 billion they made overseas? You know what I mean?
Yes, right. That's true. And I mean, overseas people are not going to be. Well, that's not true. We had a huge audience, from a global audience for this. Do you remember how many people were watching this around the world? I mean, tons. So, and one of the things I admire so much about people from other countries is that they all seem to speak English. It's incredible. It's incredible that they're all bilingual. And I feel so dumb as an American who only speaks one language. I guess I'm glad that it's the language that appears to be kind of universal that everyone else speaks, because I would be in trouble otherwise. But I always find that amazing that our audience that from all over the world is bilingual. And I just think that's cool.
Well, now's the time. Now's the time to put out the shout out to have people say where they're from in the chat again.
Yeah. How many of you are not from America who are watching this right now? I mean, every time I asked, I would get, yep, Poland, here it comes. Still watching you. Greetings from Poland. So people
But I say this because
the world are watching.
But I looked it up because I heard this recently, but less than 1% of Chinese population speak English. Fewer than 10 million people in China. So it really doesn't matter unless they're translating it and they're interested in it and they care, which they probably don't. Then it doesn't matter.
George says, I was just in France. Very few people spoke English. George, they were lying to you. They actually do speak English, but they won't speak it to you. But they actually, absolutely, most people, Pierre, don't people in France actually speak English, but just refuse to speak to the Americans in English?
Well, en general, yes, because of course it is important that if you are traveling into France, that you study the French language. Although there is a new movement in France that it is important to show some hospitality to the tourists because it's a significant part of the economy. But particularly the problem is in the areas of Paris, which is très touristique, and you could relate to this. Imagine if you live in an apartment that's close to something monument in Paris, and you walk out your door every day in the summer, and there are beaucoup d'Americans asking you, hey, where is the Eiffel Tower? You just need to get to work, and they're all over the sidewalk, and you have to deal with them, and they're the problem. It's très fatigant. It's very annoying. So
pretend you don't speak English.
Yes. En general. Most French people speak at least some English, and if you are courteous, they will speak to you as well. So
we've got India, Botswana. Thank you, Pierre. UK, Turkey, Thailand, France, Portugal.
I want to go through these. Let's see. What was the first one you said?
I don't know. Now I've Kurdistan.
Poland.
Thailand,
okay.
Turkey.
Aquaman made $3.9 million in Poland. Not very important. Next.
All right. How about Malaysia?
Malaysia. 9.6 million. Better.
Germany.
I don't think that many people in Malaysia speak English, though, to be fair. But Germany. 24.7 million. That's a good one.
What about the UK? We have a lot of people watching from England.
I mean, the UK, like UK people just don't really go see movies. 28.6 million.
They don't
not very good compared to their population.
What about Spain? We have a lot of people from Spain.
16 million.
It's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
So you're really saying they only care about Chinese numbers. Is that correct?
I mean, China was 300 million.
And we have no one watching from China. Literally no one. We've never had anyone from China. Christy, thanks for the super chat. She says, watch, it's all a PR stunt. She's so sick she can't even hold a conversation. Feel bad for her. Don't ridicule her. That's how they will spin this crap. Well,
I'm
late
saying,
for that.
Yeah, I would definitely ridicule her. Why would you not ridicule someone who abuses somebody? We're going to continue to ridicule
Yeah, we're
her.
going to continue to do that because it's the only comeuppance she's going to get. I don't even think she's
India
gonna
is a
have
good
to
one. Let me see.
Oh, yeah, India.
10 million. Nope, doesn't matter. Sorry,
Nope.
India.
Sorry, India, you don't matter at all. According to Aquaman numbers,
India,
Warner Brothers.
India only 10 million people.
I know. Can you believe that?
That's hard to believe.
$10 million,
Given that
which
it's
is
a
like
country of
1 million
billion
people.
Well, maybe
Less.
they're watching. Maybe they're watching their Bollywood stuff, which is frankly quite entertaining and
Oh,
probably
absolutely.
better than Aquaman. Because Indian entertainment is actually quite good. I wish we had more of it, more access to it.
My point is, not only would they have to do reshoots probably, because they probably want like the rumors are that there's a child in the movie or whatever, that Mira has a child, and they probably want a child for the third one or something like that.
God.
So I think it's a bad idea, but whatever. So they would either have to do reshoots, which would cost them a certain amount of money. It wouldn't be too much money, but the problem is if you're doing reshoots, then you have to delay the movie. And this isn't just a single movie. This is a movie tied into the universe they're making. They've already had to delay and put everything in different months. So if they do that, that throws off DC's whole entire schedule for releasing films.
And I'm sure that DC is really thrilled with this.
Yeah, they're just like, oh my god, how much money do we think we're actually going to lose by having Amber Heard in it? You guys think that no one in America is going to go see Aquaman 2?
No, everyone's
a lot of people still
will
will.
go see Aquaman too.
Not no one, but I think that
I don't know.
I would like to see it tank at the box office. I
Yeah,
really
but you
don't
know what?
think it's going to.
Maybe Warner is looking at this and listening to all of the stuff that's being said about Amber Heard right now. And I mean, I'm kind of a news avoider, so I don't get a lot of it. But every time I hear her name recently, what I'm hearing is Aquaman star Amber Heard. Maybe Warner is thinking about this and going, you know, the more of a train wreck she is, right?
That's
the
what
more
I'm
people in the
saying.
news.
That's
Right.
what I'm saying. It's going to make it an even bigger opener, I think. Nico, thanks for the super chat. He says, you guys are wrong. She has a stunning career on OnlyFans. Well, I guess that remains to be seen.
It would do well.
It would do well. Yeah, it would do well, but I don't think she's going to have to. I think that all, like you said, all publicity is good publicity, and Warner Brothers is going to ride it out.
To stand up for myself and the truth.
Heard and Depp's volatile relationship
Sure.
lasted just 4 years. Depp confirming his engagement to me on Today in 2014.
Congratulations.
All right, did you see that ring that was on his finger? I heard, and I cannot confirm this, but I heard that he gave her that ring, the one that he was wearing on his finger just there, as an engagement ring, and she didn't like it. So he had it resized and wore it himself and got her a new one because she wanted a bigger one or something, some other different type of ring that she didn't want. Guys, can I just tell you, this is a red flag, men out there. If you buy an engagement ring for your girlfriend and you spent all this money on it and time and like saving and tried to buy a ring and she doesn't,
basically.
yeah, and she doesn't like it and she doesn't wear it, you picked the wrong woman. Run far away. Don't marry her. Just saying. Just
gonna let her pick her own ring. I'm gonna avoid that entirely.
Yeah, but I mean, if you did, but even if you, let's say you didn't though, and like you just found a ring, and by the way, that ring was absolutely freaking beautiful. Did you see it? Look at this ring. It's absolutely gorgeous. It looks like
Heard
an
and
antique.
Depp's volatile relationship lasted
Yeah, it looks like
just
something that
4
she would
years.
be into,
Depp
based on
confirming
what
his
she said.
engagement to me on Today in
Look,
2014.
it's all blurry every time but I mean, that's a beautiful ring right there. Women are not that picky that like you would give a woman that ring and they'd go, oh, I don't like that. No. Like, what? Stop it.
Oh, by the way, I did the math. So someone said 4.6 million people said they don't want to see Aquaman. Well, the average movie ticket price in 2022 is $9.17. So you multiply that by 4.6 million, $42 million. They don't care.
Yeah.
They'll lose the 42 million.
Yeah,
and they also won't lose that. So it doesn't matter.
Right. Joe says a real woman would love the ring because you picked it. That's true. That is right. You love the ring because the love of your life picked it out for you and loved it and wanted to give it to you. So no, complaining about an engagement ring is pretty much the worst thing you could do. One of the worst, well, besides shitting in someone's bed. I mean, that's probably worse, but complaining about the engagement ring is also really far up there on my list of red flags. Fellas, if this happens to you, don't marry her.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yeah, very.
Poor guy.
She's a wonderful girl. She's sharp as a tack. Wonderful. Southern belle and sweet as can be, and very good for me.
On the first day of the trial,
That was back when he had all his fingers.
you issued a statement, and part of the statement said, I still have love for Johnny.
Yes.
Is that still true?
Yes.
After everything?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love him.
Okay. I cannot even.
Yeah,
I can't. You love the guy who raped you with a bottle?
Repaid.
Paid you with a bottle? John, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm sensing Lifetime is salivating over a series of Beat Amber Heard DV made for TV movies. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, in 20 years when we get a whole the whole Tom and wait, am I saying that right? Tom and Pam? Pam and
What?
Tom?
Who's
What's
Pam
that
and
series
Tom?
that came out on Hulu about Pamela Anderson and
Oh, right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what it's called.
but anyway, when an equivalent of that is made for Johnny and Amber, then you guys just remember you were there.
I am worried
We were
about
there.
this. I am very, very worried about her answer here. I am very worried that she is going to try and contact him and get back together with him, and I'm worried for him because
No, he's not going to do it. He wouldn't do it.
So you say, but abuse victims, by the way, go back to their abusers more often than not. I hope his friends have him locked down, like changed his phone, keep they should be keeping video clips of her on the stand describing that bottle incident to play for him every time he starts to forget how bad she was.
Someone else should have his phone, and if Amber ever does text him or whatever, delete it.
Yeah.
Block the number first of all.
Block the number.
But then delete that text message. And
I
just
feel
never
like
tell him that it happened.
I feel like Isaac needs to install one of those parental things on his phone so that all the text messages go to Isaac first. And then Isaac can just, delete the ones he doesn't want him to see. Somebody has to take care of Johnny. Johnny does not have a good handle on what's real and good for him. No.
It's called trauma bonding.
Yes.
Yeah, and and it's true. But also remember, love's a pretty complex thing. I mean, it's possible to love someone and be afraid of them and to hate them and to not like them and to not trust them. You can do all of those things at the same time.
I don't know. I don't think I could love my rapist. I don't. What she described happened to her with repeated beatings and all the other stuff. It doesn't sound possible. I don't believe that she loves him. This is still more controlling bullshit. This is more. She never loved him. Baloney. This is part 2, Madeline. We're doing part 2 right now. Part 3 comes out on Friday. I just think this is crazy. She's going to continue on with this.
Part 3
I
of
loved
the
him
interview
with
comes
all
out
my
on Friday.
heart.
Yeah, part 3 comes out Friday.
When do they talk about the pooping in the bed?
I don't think they do they?
I don't know.
And I tried the best I could to make a deeply broken relationship work. And I couldn't. I have no bad feelings or ill will towards him at all.
What?
Stop. Right there. That's exactly what that chameleon face thing that I'm talking about.
Oh, go
Right.
back.
All right, you want me to go back?
Just a hair, where she's like, I tried really hard to make a deeply broken relationship work. Watch her chameleon face.
Okay.
I loved him with all my heart. And I tried the best I could to make a deeply broken relationship work.
Stop.
And
So you see, so she looks at the interviewer and she's saying these things, and then you see the interviewer's face, and it's just skepticism written all over the face, right? You can tell that. What's this woman?
I'm going to slow it down. Hold on. Let's slow it down. This is Savannah Guthrie.
I loved him.
Loved him.
Loved him with all my heart.
All right, so now she sees Savannah's
Right,
face.
yeah, see that?
She's going,
That little
mhm.
smirk. She's thinking
Yeah.
to herself, "You are full of shit." Right? And so chameleon face.
Look, right there. Right there. She's like,
Right.
shit,
She's
she's
shrugging.
not buying it. She's
Yeah.
not buying it.
Right. She's like, so I did the best I could, and
And then she's back to sad face. She
And
goes
back
back
to
to
sad
sad face. Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
become the behavioral specialists.
Well, you know, if you live with this, if you see this a lot, you can you can see it in other places.
I lived long enough to see myself become the villain.
Oh
That's
God.
how I feel. I was roasting the body behavior people yesterday, Sean, in case you weren't here.
You were doing what?
So I was roasting all
this
the body behavioral specialist people yesterday.
Is this true? Tug has a T-shirt for sale with a Honda trunk open and Captain Sparrow pointing at it. If that's true, I want one. That's funny. Yeah, you can. The chat agrees with you, Sean. They said they can all see her face change at that point. Like, in fact, here, I know where it is now.
She's like resetting.
She's resetting. Watch. It's good to watch in slow motion. She's like, oh crap, she's not believing me. Face squint, and then she's gonna look down into her right. Oh, there goes the lip.
Right. See, I'm human.
There she goes. Resetting.
I'm so sad.
Sad face. Now the sad face.
Right.
My sad face wasn't good enough. I have to reset the sad.
Right.
Reset sad.
Let me try it this time.
She's not buying it. We gotta reset. Let's hear what she's saying when she does that.
Can't help, Amber. You printed it out.
I loved him with all my heart. And I tried the best I could to make a deeply broken relationship work.
Uh-huh.
And
how was it deeply broken? Didn't you say it was one-sided and abusive?
I have no bad feelings or ill will towards him at all.
You have no bad feelings or ill will toward your rapist, really? Really?
No bad feelings? You have no bad feelings.
And also, please note that she says this humiliation is the worst thing she's ever lived through. Not the bottle incident, not the dragging across broken glass, not the being beaten in the face by her love of her life with rings on his fingers. This is the worst thing.
So wouldn't she at least have bad feelings about him for this?
Yeah, no, apparently not. She
wants
us to believe. She wants us to believe she's the most forgiving woman in the. She's Jesus, basically.
I turn the other cheek.
Yeah, she's Jesus. Amber Heard, Saint Amber is back, and she's forgiving everyone, and she has no. Yes, Saint Amber. Exactly. Saint Amber is back. She's forgiving everyone. She has no malice.
My halo.
Because she's so perfect. She's the perfect person. Jesus on earth right here.
I know that might be hard to understand, or it might be really easy to understand if you've just ever.
It might be hard to understand, but it might be easy to understand. She's
or it might be in the middle to understand. Whatever you want.
Covering all her bases with the audience. Some of you might find this easy to understand and some hard, and it could be both or either or neither or other.
Or both mixed together in a little pot, or whatever you want it to mean. As long as you agree with me, it's whatever you think I said is what I actually said. All right. Continue now.
Whatever you think I said, that's definitely what I said.
Loved anyone. It should be easy.
Depp's attorneys have said they do not see the verdict in this case as a setback to victims of domestic violence coming forward. Heard's legal team has said.
All right, that's Colonel Kurtz. So that's the end of that. Oh my God. Slow clap. The sarcastic clapping family.
Incredible.
Nice work, Amber. Good work.
Amazing.
Well, she's just crazy. She's just really, really, really nuts. And I don't want to, for all of the people who have, borderline personality disorder or any other diagnosable personality disorder, get into a therapist, get into a psychologist, get the help that you need. You can improve your lives. There's a lot of things you can do, but if you don't take your mental health seriously, you're going to get problems like Amber has, and you're going to have a lifetime of them.
Yeah, and just because you have some of the things that she allegedly has, as far as Dr. Curry is concerned, and the audience is concerned, but either way, even if you do have some of those things that Amber also said to have, that doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make you Amber Heard.
No.
Don't let
Right.
yourself
No, and in
become
fact,
even close to
a
her.
lot of people who have those same personality disorders do not behave that way, and they're
Exactly.
working on it and they're getting help. I wanted to show you guys my favorite part of Mercator's stream last night because this made me laugh so hard. I'm actually not finished watching it, but he was going through the same interview that we were just watching, and this part made me laugh so hard I had to share it with you guys. So here we go.
After she wrote oh, they're not even people. They're not even people. Oh, God, journalists are worse than lawyers. Oh, they're the only class of creature lower than lawyers is a journalist. Oh, God.
Yep. And I can say that with certainty, having been around this business, it makes me laugh because I report on bad lawyers all the time, and I also report on bad journalists, and listening, they're not even people. They're just worse, the lower than the worst lawyers. He's right. And that just made me laugh. So I just wanted to share it. He was making fun of all the way they talk on these broadcasts. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have been in court for 6 weeks. The way they talk is so crazy and weird and sounds just bizarre.
Sounds like
I
you're reading a
think that this
teleprompter, perhaps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The way they talk is just so upsetting. It's just so ridiculous.
Like
But
most
yes,
of the time, this isn't even these, like these people's opinion. It's just what they're reading, like news anchors and stuff. It's not like they necessarily believe what they're saying. Something was written down and they say it.
I know, so robotic. It's so robotic. I agree
Yeah.
with you, Jay.
It used to be an engaging, kind of way to speak, but people started looking for more. Oh my God, I can't think of
Well,
words
they look
half
like
the
robot.
time.
I mean, they behave like AI or something. And then, like, especially when you hear them do things like they all repeat the same phrase. This
Yeah.
is dangerous to our democracy. And then you go down to another, and it is dangerous to our democracy. They're all doing the same exact wording. They're all getting their notes from from above, from whoever's pulling the strings. It's gross. It's gross, and people see it. They know it. They know it's fake. They
Yeah,
know
and it's
that
everywhere. It's not, and I know, Megan, you don't really pay attention to video game things, but it's the same thing as like video game journalists. All their reviews, like most of the time, sound exactly the same. And you're like, did the
all corporate
game
media.
company
Yeah.
give you a review?
Yeah,
to
they read
give?
from press releases. Yeah, they
Yeah.
literally read from press releases. And it's really gross. And
Genuine is the word I was thinking of. People started looking
Yes.
for things that are more genuine. That's why people watch Rakito, why people watch you, why people watch, just human beings that are talking from things they're thinking themselves, not from a
not from
teleprompter that was written.
teleprompters. Yeah,
Yeah.
Plasma says corporate teleprompter readers are propagandists, not journalists. That's true because, Rush Limbaugh used to do this great thing where he would call it a media montage that he would put together the night before. His producers would put together from listening to the news all night. And they would put together all the same phrases and just play it back to back. All these different networks saying the exact same talking points. And I'll never forget it. I think one of the first ones he did, it was a bunch of them using the word gravitas when it came to describing Barack Obama. The gravitas. He had so much gravitas. And it was like 8 different people in 8 different channels using the same word gravitas. Like, where did they get that? Like the talking points went out and then they just start using it and it's so fake and people see it. And no one wants to hear that anymore. It's dumb.
Yeah, and I don't want to discredit all like news anchors because there's some news anchors that literally just tell you the nightly news. They tell you what happened. They tell you what the traffic is. They tell you where the car wrecks were, and that's it. However, when it starts getting to things that kind of have an opinion around them, that's where it gets really weird because then they're all saying the same thing.
Mockingbird media.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, I wonder if I could find the video of them doing that danger to democracy because that was so crazy.
And I gotta tell you, I love the word gravitas. It's just a wonderful word. And I completely agree. I think that Barack Obama did have gravitas. But to be balanced, I also think that Ronald Reagan had gravitas as well. But
he did. Yeah.
He did.
I don't hate the and I don't think the word is necessarily the problem. It's just that when all of them are saying the same thing
at the same time,
the same time, it's like,
well,
who came up with this?
But part of that in fairness, Megan, part of that is the nature of the fact that we live in one of the world's largest countries. I mean, the United States is absolutely massive. You know, you have to compare all of Western and part of Eastern Europe as well to the United States to wind up with sort of an equivalent landmass and a roughly equivalent number of people. And, you know, if you're comparing apples to apples in that respect, right? You know, you would never say that a Swedish news broadcast, even if they're talking about the same subject, is the same thing as a Greek news broadcast about the same subject. But, you know, here, you know, from Seattle to Tampa, right? It's a massive country and they might be covering the same thing.
Yeah, but Sean, watch this because this is crazy.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about trouble and trending irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 I mean, now
dangerous.
You know what that was? There's a psychological term for that. Called the illusory truth effect.
Yes. If you repeat the same thing enough times, people believe that it's true. And the fact that our media, though, is using it against the people, that's a weapon. There's a reason why they have been called the enemy of the people, is because they have been completely politicized, and they were handed a script, and they all repeated that script and not one of them said, why am I repeating this? Yes, it's all the same script. They are fed the same. It's one thing to talk about the same news story. It is quite another to read a written script as if it's coming from your newsroom.
What you're really saying, Megan, is that they're not doing independent reporting, and I completely agree with you. They're getting all of that from the same basic, handful of places. I mean. The media.
I want to know where that script came from. That's the real question. Who wrote it down and who gave it to everyone at the same time?
People who investigated it. It was a Sinclair, and you guys are asking for in the chat. You're asking for the link, and of course I clicked off of it. I'll go find it. It was the Sinclair media stations. So whoever it was, Sinclair Media, that had put out that report they wanted everybody to read about fake news and how dangerous it is to our democracy. And
so really you were only watching one media outlet with a whole bunch of different voices.
Right.
Correct.
One media,
Exactly
correct.
Right.
But it should also scare you that one media outlet has that much control over that many stations in that many places.
It should.
It's outrageous.
When I used to be a news junkie before I went to law school, I would just turn on the news, in the evening from my international channel, and I would get news from, China. I would get news from, CNN. I would get news from lots of different sources, but I would really only get one or two American news sources. I'm like, okay, great, wonderful. I heard what's going on in the U.S. and now I know what's going on somewhere else.
Thank you, financial consultant. This is what I scream every time I hear that nonsense. This is a republic, assholes, not a democracy. Okay, and that's the other thing that drives me crazy that's going on with the January 6th hearings is the constant mantra that our democracy is in danger. Well, stupid assholes, we don't have a democracy. We have a republic for a reason. We have a representational republic, which is different than a democracy. We do not have direct democracy here. Thank God. Because if we did, believe me, we would be run by all the blue cities and you'd be living in hell right now. It would be awful. You have to have representational republic, or you get what they have in other direct democracies around the world that don't work. Direct democracy doesn't work. So yes, I agree with you. I'm 100% on the words. I hate it when they say democracy anyway, because it doesn't make sense.
Most people couldn't tell you what a federal republic is versus a parliamentary, a parliamentary system versus most people out there spouting communism and socialism and fascism can't define the differences between those governmental structures, without the aid of Google.
Yeah, that's true. And that's because we don't teach civics anymore. We're too busy teaching little children how to transgender themselves into the opposite sex and how to get on hormones forever and cut off healthy body parts. And so we're not teaching civics because the LGBTQ cult has taken over the schools. And that's what we teach now. Screw math and screw science and screw civics. We're just going to teach them how to be good little LGBTQers. That's what we're doing now in school. So, and that kind of stuff, it's gotten so out of hand. It's gotten so out of control that I wrote another article yesterday that I would love for you guys to go clickety-click on. If you want to see more about how this nonsense in fake news affects everything, check this out. Leaked internal, this is so crazy. Twitter got caught. Do you know what Slack chat is, you guys?
Yeah, Slack. Yep.
Yeah, we use one for PJ Media, and so that's where we work. It's like a work channel. Well, the internal Twitter Slack chat got leaked, and they were discussing deplatforming libs of TikTok. Now, those of you who watch my YouTube channel, you know that I talk about libs of TikTok a lot. I write about a lot of the stuff that she puts out on social media. Basically, the only thing that this account does is take publicly available information on public social media and repost them on Twitter. And a lot of it is like drag queen story hours and these highly inappropriate, especially during the month of June. Right now, she's doing a lot of highly inappropriate drag pride events that are marked family friendly, but they're not family friendly. And there's like a lot of nudity and twerking and all kinds of craziness going on in front of children. Well, she's being targeted right now because she put out an advertisement that the San Francisco Library was advertising a drag queen story hour. And because she amplified this, a bunch of guys showed up. They called them Proud Boys, but I watched the video and they were just like mad dads. They weren't Proud Boys. They came into the library.
I like if there was a group called Mad Dads.
There is. There actually is. And as I said that, I was like, crap, that's actually a group. I can't remember what it is they do, but there's a Mad Dads group. And I think they're the divorce group. They're men's rights activists called Mad Dads. So these were not the Mad Dads of the divorce group. These were just what I was describing as,
For a second, dads. I thought they were Mothers Against Drunk Driving dads. So I was about to say that'd be kind of interesting.
The media did say Proud Boys broke into a drag queen story hour and hate crime charges have been filed, is what they said. Well, I finally found the videos of this because I knew it couldn't have existed without video. Somebody was recording it, right? And it wasn't Proud Boys. It was just some dads who were like, this is terrible and you shouldn't be doing this. And why? And I guess they had found videos of that particular drag queen saying like pretending to do drugs and talking about children in a sexualized way on YouTube. And it was gross. And here's this person reading books to children. So they were just saying, this is wrong. And they were protesting it. And they basically shut it down. They made them leave. And, it's a free country. You can do that. It's not a hate crime. Anyway, because she advertised this, she's been called a domestic terrorist and accused of genociding trans people. I mean, this is so insane. And so Twitter. So this is the kind of stuff that that Libs of TikTok has been putting up. Now, do you think this is appropriate for children to be in front of?
Yes, you!
Little children, like in front of this kink crap. I mean, it's just it's crazy. People who take their kids to do this are out of their minds, okay? But that's the kind of stuff that she puts up. So Twitter, get that, look at this. Look at the internal Slack chat that Twitter is talking about deplatforming her. This is who's running our social media. It says here, okay, here's what they're talking about. Like, I don't get how this account, which exists solely to generate targeted violence at marginalized people, continues to be allowed to post. But of course, she didn't post anything about violence. She just said, look, there's a drag thing at this library. Then they said, but if we deplatform this account, we might erode trust in our platform from users who already think we're irredeemably biased against conservatives, says another. Then the one replies, I mean, we successfully deplatformed Trump. I don't think deplatforming Libs of TikTok is going to cause a mass exodus, but I guess it may not be in our fiduciary interest to enact a ban on a high-profile account right now. Trans people are being targeted for genocidal violence during Pride Month, says another, with no grasp on reality. Can you... Genocidal violence. For republishing what they publish on their own. What?
Yeah.
Genocidal violence is kind of extremist. But I do have a question for you. Here's the thing, right? So, I'm a moderate liberal. And my question then becomes, where's the happy medium, right? I mean, first of all, I completely agree that there are some expressions of your identity that are just not appropriate to share with children, right?
You think? Yeah. Probably the kink stuff and the BDSM and all that. Right. Yeah. Could we keep that to yourself, please?
That's really not appropriate to share with children. And I can even understand, to a certain extent that, and that's not my thing, but there's people who dress up in drag, that can be a high art form. And again, that's not supposed to really be shared with children, right?
No,
it's often burlesque in nature.
It's adult entertainment.
Right. It's all adult entertainment. And I don't think it's that bad a thing for a kid to understand that sometimes, other kids can have, two dads, right? Because
that's a normal thing that kids encounter, and that's no big deal because they encounter it, they ask you the question, you answer it as a parent, and then you move on. That's at least that was my experience when it happened.
So when I hear, and again, I'm somewhat of a news avoider, but what I hear from the right side of the political spectrum is this sort of backlash against, anything that's going to be talking about these issues with children. And I agree that there's some lines that you shouldn't cross, right? But, where is that medium?
No, I can tell you where it is. I can tell you exactly where it is. Because children, it's not about talking about the issues like if someone has two moms or two dads. And in fact, if that should come up in school, the appropriate answer for that the teacher should have to the child is go ask your parents. If the child says to the teacher, how come Johnny has two moms? You can say to that child, oh, that's a great question. When you get home tonight, ask your parents and let his parents explain it to him. And now let's get back to our math lesson, Johnny, because we're doing math right now. And that's what we're doing in school. We're doing reading and math, and we're doing science, and we're not talking about sexuality because this has nothing to do with what I'm here to do. We're not talking about my sexuality or anybody's sexuality because this is school and we need to learn math. So if you want to, what did she say?
Is less
silence. Tense silence.
Well, because me and Megan haven't really gotten to political, or I guess socially political differences that we may or may not have, and I don't know if we need to. But I will say that I think that the answer of saying "go ask your parents" is not a terrible answer. But I also think it's okay to say, because two moms can exist and two dads can exist, and also a dad and a mom.
That wouldn't make me upset, but that's not what we are talking about in what's happening in schools.
No,
What's
I
happening
understand.
in schools is that they are teaching little children that there are genderbread people and that you can change your gender. That's what they're teaching little 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. That's insane. And that's what Florida said they can't do anymore. They cannot talk about sexual orientation, which shouldn't be talked about in those. And that's just K through 4th grade. I mean, you're talking about little tiny children they have no reason to be talking about any of this. And when people come at me and they're like, well, you guys watch cheerleaders, half-naked cheerleaders on football. No, we don't. I turn that off because you know what? I don't think my children should be exposed to adult sexuality in any way. My little children, no, I turn it off. We don't watch halftime shows either. I would not take them to a strip club. I would not take them to any. And June is becoming a month that I can't take my kids out of the house because you don't know when you're going to be walking down the street and see those idiots, these guys. Oh my God, come on. What is this? What in the actual hell is this?
Well,
Walking down the street.
I do think that the LGBT community are doing themselves a disservice by using Pride Month and Pride parades to show the sexual nature of their relationships, and I wouldn't call it deviancy, but you know what I mean, the explicit, inappropriate
It's debauchery ways. And I would say the same thing about straight people walking down the street like this, showing their kink off to the world. I don't want to hear about your kink.
I think it's a weird thing to do for a public thing. I mean, I definitely have no problem with drag shows or burlesque shows. Been to some before. They're a lot of fun.
I've been to one. I enjoyed it. But it's not for children.
No, it's not. It's not.
Well,
it's
maybe you shouldn't take your your kids to a pride parade.
That's also true.
I would never do that. But
no,
again,
and I agree with you, Sean, and I think that it's well within their right to do a pride parade of this nature, I guess. But I'm saying it does for community optic wise. I think it's strange to make that choice to have that be part of it instead of just being about hey, two people of the same gender can love each other. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. I think the main issue is bringing their kids to it, honestly.
When did we go from we want to marry who we want to little tiny children in a bar putting dollars in the costumes of drag queen performers who are twerking? When did we do this? It's not going to lick itself. There are little children. Look at Sean. Little tiny children, it's not going to lick itself. This is what's actually happening. And so the idea, and there are parents, a parent in Texas, I think, showed up at a board meeting to say, a teacher in my school took my underage son into one of these clubs.
That's definitely wrong.
Kept him there until 3 a.m. But you can't say anything about it because they're under the protective rainbow, the rainbow that protects them from all criticism. And if you criticize this, like a bunch of protesters did, and they went outside this bar and they were protesting vociferously saying this is wrong. If you protest this, they write you up in the news as committing a hate crime, like they did to those dads, the mad dads, the angry dads in the library in San Francisco.
Well, what you're really seeing here is you're seeing the apex of the pendulum swing because it can't stay here. Right?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, it's a pendulum thing for sure.
How could it stay here? How could we allow
it can't stay here. I mean, moderates, liberals, moderates, and conservatives. Only the people on the wing, right, will think that this is a good idea. I saw this little graph. I thought it made me think of you, Megan. I saw this little graph. I'm going to try and pull it up.
I want to know when that pendulum's going to swing because I'm getting so tired of this.
Yeah,
why can't we let children be children? Why can't we let them have a childhood? Why are we? Well, look at this one. Wait till you see this. This mother is forcing her son to look at something that is clearly making him uncomfortable. Wait, why can't I play it inside the thing? I can't play it inside the article. That's annoying. Parents, if you are this parent, let me tell you something right now. If you are this parent, you need to seek help from a therapist, because if you are forcing your child, your little boy, to look at something that's making him so obviously uncomfortable, look at this poor child. so obviously uncomfortable and you're forcing him to look at it, you have a problem. Like this is, why can't children just be children? Why would you bring your kid to something like this instead of taking them to the zoo where they could see the giraffes and the elephants play? Instead, they're taking them to see this. What is going on with parents in America? What is happening here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely disagree with some people in the chat that are like, sex ed is for high school. That's ridiculous. There are many kids that are 12 years old that are having sex with each other. And to act like they're not is kind of crazy.
Well, I will tell you this, though. I'll argue with you on this one. I think sex ed is fine, and the way that they do it in the Catholic school still, and the way that I learned it when I was in school, which is you learn human reproduction, you learn how pregnancy happens, you learn how to prevent it, you learn what STDs are, and everything else you leave to the parents, period.
Well, sure. No, I'm saying like teaching. I'm not talking about even the sex education itself. I'm talking about when to teach it to somebody.
Yeah, you have to teach them. It's in 5th grade. It's 5th grade.
Yeah,
is when it
that
is, which
sounds
is
like the right amount of time.
Well, because you also have kids who are hitting puberty who have to learn about that. So
yeah, for sure.
You can't. I'm with you. You can't deny that. But that's biology. It's science. And I'm, of course, always pro-science. I want them to teach science. I want children to know how these things happen and what puberty is and how do you get pregnant and how you avoid it. That's all important information. But all this other stuff is personal viewpoints, right? And that should be left to the parents. So if you have Muslim parents, for instance, who want to teach their children about Muslim traditions and how Muslims view sexuality, they should be allowed to do that without having it forced down their throats, this LGBTQ cult stuff that most of the world religions do not agree with. They don't. Not Jews, not Muslims, not Christians, not Hindus. None of them agree with this gender-bending weirdness. None of them. And those are the world's major religions. And so forcing it onto these children inside public schools is like forcing religious material down their throat, which should never be allowed. Because they're public schools and we don't have religion in schools, right?
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the LGBTQ community at all. I mean, if there was, if it was a straight parade, I don't know who would throw that, but if there was like a straight parade,
I think
and
Milo Yiannopoulos did.
Yeah, like that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But if there was a straight parade and there was people, doing the same type of BDSM stuff, I would also have an issue with that.
Totally.
So it's not nothing to really do with the sexual preference of it.
In Chicago, there was like this thing where they did a leather convention or something, and so it wasn't technically LGBT. I think it was like all people who were into leather. And I remember thinking at the time, being down there for work and seeing all this weirdness around me, going, "What the hell? Why is this allowed on the street where any child could be walking around?" I mean, it's just crazy why adults don't have better filters for this stuff, knowing that children are everywhere. Yes, the world should be a safe place for them to be. And no, they shouldn't be accosted by adult sexuality everywhere they go. Where are they going to be safe from adult sexuality? Is there any safe place left? Elementary schools aren't safe. Disney World's not safe, apparently. They're throwing it in all the cartoons. None of this, nowhere is safe for kids anymore.
Hey, Megan, let me share a screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so share screen. Yeah, share screen. Here we go. We're sharing this one. So this is basically your point.
Someone says this is above my pay grade. Listen, guys, just because you refuse to admit that certain people of certain age are sexual around each other doesn't mean I'm wrong. I've been these ages before. I did sexual things with girls when I was much younger than I am now and much before sex ed was taught to me.
I mean, I agree with you.
You're wrong.
I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you. I think that, that there has to be some sort of happy medium.
There has to be a balance.
This is what you're saying, Megan. You're saying
yes, I love this graph. Right, this is a great graph.
Right. And I agree with this. I mean, I think that, I'm this guy in the center. I think that the guy on the right actually took a couple of steps to the right. He became, he became more conservative. But yeah, you're right. The left has run pretty hard. So the center has shifted.
Yeah.
But,
I think that's very true.
I think everyone can. I think everyone reasonable can agree at some point, right? That that some of these things don't belong shared with children. They just don't. they're
just don't.
adult. But
No,
but at
agreed,
the same time, trying to express that it's behavior that people should be ashamed of is wrong as well.
I absolutely agree.
I think we should bring shame back. Personally, I think we should have shame. I think we should have Shame Month, and it should be we should rename Pride Month to Shame Month, because shame will do much better things for you as a human than the deadly sin of pride, which, by the way, is no good. Having pride in stupid things is a stupid thing to do. And I personally think that shame is very useful in society and keeping a civil society. You have to have shame of some things. And I'm not saying that you should, for one, have some shame about your kinks in public. Nobody wants to see that. Have some shame about that. I can name a bunch of things that you should be ashamed of. Don't be ashamed of it in your bedroom, but be ashamed to talk about it with your neighbors, okay? Because maybe your neighbors didn't want that assault on their mental picture of you. Maybe the people in your neighborhood don't want to know what your kinks are. Like, be ashamed of that. That's stupid. If you want to write a blog about it, that's for adults and whatever, okay, fine. But going out into the middle of the street and celebrating your kinks is absurd. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. Stephanie is weighing in. She says people parading their naked butts in front of children should be shamed. I agree. It's ridiculous. And like naked bike ride while we're at it. That thing has got to stop. No, come on.
I've done that. I have. I've done that.
Naked bike ride.
I've done that. Yeah. Nudity by itself is not the problem.
Okay, I'm taking Sean out of the street. I can't handle it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Did you really do the naked bike ride?
It's the behavior.
But Sean, if I'm visiting a city with my kids and I don't know that there's a naked bike ride about to go by and we are assaulted by 300 naked people on bikes, I'm going to be so pissed. Stephanie goes, disavow. Yes, I've seen them. I've covered them. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes,
well,
not in
here in Seattle, we have one, and it's coming up in a couple of weekends, and it's huge. And I've been to it many times, and I have never seen one of these naked people stick their junk in some kid's face. Instead, what I see is a lot of naked people covered in body paint and body paint costumes biking by in a parade, and everybody going, woo, this is fun. It's not the nudity, it's just skin. It's the behavior that you sometimes get in those places.
I don't want to see naked people. I don't want to see them. You can go to a naturalist. I don't want to see naked people on the street, period. I don't want to see them.
Well, then don't go to that parade. Don't go to the
It's public. You are out in public. There are laws against public nudity. Maybe not where you live, but there are laws against public nudity, and I don't understand why it's legal for 300 people to be naked on bikes riding around town. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
Indecent exposure and inappropriate things, doing inappropriate things with your junk in public is absolutely inappropriate and should be illegal. But just walking in a parade or sunbathing nude somewhere, why should that be illegal?
Because it is. Because those are our laws here. Those are our laws. That's the law.
But it's illegal because it is. Isn't a really good reason.
That's not much of an argument.
I don't
we can
get
disagree.
It. I don't get it.
We can all agree to disagree.
I don't want to be assaulted in public by naked people. I appreciate indecent exposure laws because I think it protects people from weirdos. And I'm not saying that every person who wants to be in a naked bike ride is a weirdo, but those laws exist for that reason, to keep the weirdos from harassing women and children. And I also think it's not a little bit look, maybe women have a different opinion on this because we've been flashed before, because we've been assaulted by men who think it's okay to flash women and it's no big deal to them. And it is a big deal to us. It scares the shit out of us and it makes us think we're about to be assaulted. I don't okay, so Jennifer says, don't ever go to a carnival in Brazil. I've seen it on TV, and one of the reasons why I don't live in Brazil, and I'm not a Brazilian, I have American sensibilities. My American sensibilities say that nudity is not for public. Those are we've had those laws for a long time. And people who are trying to push that envelope and make it okay to I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't want it, because to me, that opens up the doors to freaks and weirdos who want to assault women to be able to do it more easily.
Yeah, we don't agree. We don't agree on that. I just don't think that the nudity by itself is not the problem. It's inappropriate behaviors that are a problem.
Well, okay. What about this then?
I agree with Sean.
What is wrong? What is wrong with keeping your nudity to the places you can go where nudity is fine, like nudist camps and places where people in nude beaches, instead of putting it on a public street where people are not expecting that because our laws don't allow for it. But for some reason, they just let them do the bike ride naked. What?
Well, because that is allowed. So that's why I'm saying, like, the argument of it's bad because it's not allowed is a bad argument, because if it is allowed, then you would, by that logic, say that it's okay.
I think technically it's not, because technically there are laws on the books against public nudity. So why they allow a naked bike ride, I don't understand.
Look, living in Seattle, you cannot live in this city and not know about the Fremont parade and that there will be naked bicyclists there. It's all over the news. It's everywhere in the popular culture, and it is the only parade in the summer in which you get naked people in body art. So the idea that you would
can't you get that at Burning Man? Isn't that what Burning Man is about?
I don't know. I've never been to Burning Man.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of naked people in body art there too.
Right, and you got to pay for it. It's admission, from what I understand. It's hundreds of dollars to go to Burning Man.
But so then I have to be assaulted by a bunch of naked people on a bike ride because they don't want to pay to go to Burning Man.
No, if you come visit Seattle during this weekend, okay, you won't be able to get anywhere close to the parade ground without knowing that you are basically entering a zone where there's going to be a bunch of naked people. You just won't. That's just the reality.
But but on a random Tuesday, you couldn't just ride your bike around naked in Seattle, could you?
It's funny that you asked that question, because I've actually had model clients ask me that question, and I've had to analyze that. And in theory, you could. It never actually happens. And if you did do that, if you decided to just ride down the bike trail, naked on a random Tuesday, you would get a lot of uncomfortable stares. You would get a lot of uncomfortable experiences, and you might get pulled over by the cops. And so you might have that experience, it just never happens. It never happens. I've been to plenty. I've been to plenty of cities.
It happens in New York City all the time.
I've been to plenty of cities where nudity is legal, or partial nudity is legal, and you don't see it outside of some specified areas. Like I've been to Paris 18 times. I've been to beaches in France a lot. I've been to the artificial beach that they create in Paris on the Seine, right? And you could be a woman could be topless in Paris, and the only times I have ever seen it, I've never seen it at a pool. I've never seen it anywhere other than at the beach or the artificial beach that's created in the Seine. I've never seen a topless woman in New York City either.
Although that happens because that's allowed. Kirk Patty says, I'm on team. Don't surprise me with nudity in public. Yeah, me too. I'm with you. Rachel, I do want to address this. She says, listen, Megan, you lost so much respect when you said rename Pride Month Shame Month. Well, I wasn't just speaking to the LGBT people. I think everyone would benefit from feeling more shame. I think shame is important for civilization, and that's okay. You don't have to agree, but I don't think there's anything to be proud of walking around showing your ass in front of children. I think you should be ashamed for doing that, frankly.
Yeah, and I want to clarify that I wasn't even speaking to the nude bike ride. I don't really care about it one way or the other. I was just saying that you can't say something's bad because it's illegal, because then you'd say everything that's not illegal is good. That's all I was saying.
Foxy Fox says Burning Man is about STDs. It burns.
That's very funny, actually.
If Daisy says, if nudity is illegal in public, then nudity in a parade is still nudity. And I agree with that. And as a lawyer, Sean, I don't really understand how you can defend not enforcing the law for just specifically a parade you happen to like.
It's not illegal. It's not illegal in Seattle.
Public nudity is not illegal.
Look, so there was a case that that happened in Seattle, oh, I don't know, 10 years or so ago, where there was a guy who was at a public park, nude sunbathing, and he was discreetly over in some sort of discreet area. It's not like he was like right next to the path that thousands of people go by. He was over in some, corner.
I'm on
area.
team arrest that guy anyway. I don't care.
Well, hang on a second. He's over in some corner.
But it's legal,
area.
so it's okay, Megan.
Right.
I don't.
He's over
It
in
is.
some
It's
corner
legal.
area, nude sunbathing. He's asleep when the police show up, wake him up, and arrest him for indecent exposure because he's just asleep naked. His case goes up, and the Seattle prosecutor's office can't make the case because he's not doing anything with his junk in public, so it's not indecent exposure.
Well, so they have indecent exposure laws, but they don't enforce them, is what you were saying.
No, because indecent exposure would mean that there's types of decent exposure, right?
If someone comes up to you with a trench coat and they open it up and they
there's such a thing as decent exposure because he wasn't actively exposing himself, is what you're saying?
If they come up to you and they go, woohoo,
yeah,
right? Okay, then that is indecent exposure. That is, putting it in your face. That is forcing you to look at it. But if they're just over in some corner of the park, asleep, minding their own business, sunbathing nude, and you're walking past them, right? That's not indecent exposure.
Well, what if he gets up and goes into the water and walks past me and my child and his junk is flopping in her face? That's not indecent exposure. Doesn't it depend on how the people seeing it feel? I mean, look, Light Giver, thanks for the super chat. Light Giver says, gee, Megan, these two men might as well say children should run around nude. That's not what they said.
I definitely didn't say that.
Definitely did not say that. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it.
I definitely didn't say that. And I definitely didn't say people should run around nude in front of children because I don't think that either.
But how can you control what children see if this is happening in a public place and at a public event? Like, you don't know where children are going to be, and you don't know which children are going to be upset by it. And in America, I don't care what all of you people with what your European sensibilities say. Here in America, we have different sensibilities. We don't have a lot of nudity on television. Well, we do on cable. We don't have nudity in our magazines and newspapers like you guys do. We have rules about this stuff. And so we all grew up with it. And I'm not comfortable seeing naked people on the street. Like, I just don't want to see that. That's not something I ever want to see.
But I think it's hard to argue that someone's going to actually wander into a Pride event and stay there for longer than 2 seconds if they don't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's hard that you're going to see a crowd of people. You might go see what it is, and then you go, oh, it's a Pride event. I don't want to be at this Pride event. And then you turn around. I don't think you're going to be like, oh, my feet stopped working, and my child has to watch this now.
No,
You know
I
what I
agree. I think that there are a lot of people who take their kids, though, to these things on purpose.
Well,
because
yeah,
they
and
want
I
to
don't
be
think they
seen.
should.
They want to be seen as being inclusive and virtuous, and all they end up doing is exposing their kids to adult material and adult things that they should not see, which is nuts and stupid.
Well, but that's the other side of your argument, that these conversations are appropriately at home between the parent and child. That's the parent that is having the other side of that conversation with their kids, saying, we don't think that this behavior is necessarily wrong, and that when you're of the right age.
And when does it become grooming behavior? When does this behavior, when does this run afoul of laws that say you are contributing to the delinquency of a minor?
And that is the difficult line that you're talking about. And I agree. And that is figuring that out is really hard. And also understanding that line shifts over time and changes. I mean, what we think of as today as inappropriate behavior is radically different than what someone, 100 years ago would have thought of as inappropriate behavior.
Kirk Patty says Seattle is not really a beacon of civility or moral living.
Well, yes. But to Sean's point, if someone says, well, sex ed should be a lot of it should be sent home with the child and say, ask your parents. If the parents say, I'll teach you about sex ed, let's go to a pride event, then, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, just, you can't say that I want them to learn it at home, but I also want the parents at home to teach what I'm going to teach my kids.
No, I prefer parents to do their own teaching. And if that's what they want to teach them, then I guess they can. But I do question, when does it run afoul of contributing to the delinquency of a minor? We do have laws about that too. You're not allowed as a stranger, you cannot walk up to a kid and show them pornography on the street. You can't do that. You would be arrested.
In New York, children can go see the play Hair, where the entire
like
cast,
under 18.
Yeah, where the entire cast gets nude at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not all of these things are illegal, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying I'm condoning any of them or that any of them are right. I'm just saying that it's not always the case that because someone is nude and a child is somewhere near them, that is illegal.
Rachel wants to know, do I feel the same way about Victoria's Secret commercials? Yes, I do. And in fact, I hate those life-size posters in the mall too, aimed at, my little boy with half-naked women on them and in thongs and stuff. I think it's gross. And I think the over-sexualization of our culture needs to stop. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. And yes, I feel the exact same way about I feel the exact same way about heterosexual sex in public. Gross.
And for the record, I do think that they should limit the age for hair, personally. I do think that you should have to be of a certain age to see it.
I haven't seen it, so I don't. I just know that there's that one scene where they are nude, but aren't they just playing music and stuff? What are they doing?
No, well, at the end of the song, they all their clothes are tearaway clothes, and they all tear away their clothes and they all stand in a line at the front of the stage.
All right, that's weird. That's weird.
It's a song about liberate. It's a whole
hippie thing. The whole hippie thing. Okay, fine.
Megan, I want to leave you with one sort of thought to think about. Maybe we can talk about this some other time. Is that the species is somewhere around the neighborhood of 10 million years old, and humans have been growing up for a very long time, seeing other naked humans, and it hasn't been an issue, and it happens still all over the world. I think that kind of brings me back to my point. It isn't necessarily just about the naked human body. It's about the behavior.
Well, I agree with you, because I don't have any problem taking my children to the art museum, which I've done a million times, and showing them the nude statues of Michelangelo and showing them nude paintings from the masters. I have no problem with that. Some people do.
Sure.
That's not. And again, though, that's a parental thing. It's up to parents to decide what their children are going to see. My problem is when it's on a public street and I don't have that ability to stop, or, if I don't know that this is happening and this is happening, it's not right to force that on other people who don't want to see it. It's just not right. You should be able to choose to do that. Fine. And I'm all about freedom. I'm very libertarian when it comes to this stuff, but you don't get to step on my front lawn. You don't get to do that to my children. And we don't know it's happening. And it's everywhere right now. It's everywhere. And it's in places it shouldn't be. And I don't like that. I'm not suggesting, you're right, Sean. It is, of course, more behavior you're worried about than nudity.
Yeah, because you don't want a kid thinking that. Well, first of all, that's why I said that it's bad optically, because you don't want a kid thinking that all gay relationships have to do with flogging each other in the streets. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's not the case. And you also don't want kids to think that that's what a relationship is just BDSM things. So I agree that's bad. I agree that's bad. But I saw someone earlier saying well, why would the play Hair not be limited if you're not allowed to take a kid to a movie? Well, you're incorrect about that, because that's not a law. Any kid can watch an adult-only movie right now, and it's not illegal for them to do so.
With a parent at a theater, they won't let you in.
It's just enforced by the theater. It's not a legal thing,
right? It's not codified into law or anything.
No, and the MPAA is just an association that rates movies, and the only reason why films try to get a certain rating is so the theater will play them. It's all just a matter of opinion and public perception of the theater. It's not an actual rule. So that's why I'm saying you can go with laws, you can go with your own opinion, but you can't say both, because the law is going to disagree with you sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I'm looking at your comments, because you guys have a lot of them. I haven't even caught up yet. Do you guys want to hear some of these comments?
Sure. I like the ones that disagree the most.
Well, I have a lot of those.
All right,
There
let's
are
do
a
it.
lot of those. All right, we did that one already. Naked people used to go to nudity camps, says Light Giver. That was kind of the point I made. That's true. Like, there used to be places to go, which I find much more appropriate than walking down my city block for a parade, interrupting everyone else's day who might not be into that. I prefer the nudity camps. Mermaid says, you guys are gross. Thank you,
Thank
Mermaid. I knew you would like that one. Holly says, you cannot expose yourself in public. Or at
Well,
least,
Holly, I think we went over that sometimes that is not true.
I guess. Mike says, forcing nudity on people is disgusting.
Forcing nudity on people is disgusting. I agree with you.
Yeah. Melinda says, nudity leads to inappropriate behavior. Now, that's kind of an interesting comment.
I don't think that's true at all.
It doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't mean that all naked people will behave inappropriately, but isn't there a reason why we have these laws in the first place?
Sure. But again, it depends on where you are. And also, that you would, if you're saying that, then you would say that at nudist colonies is just everyone is inappropriate at all times.
Well, but they signed
Which
up
isn't
to
the
be
case.
there. They signed up to do that. So
Yeah, but
whatever's
I was
happening there
saying-
is none of my business because I'll never find out because I'll never go.
I was saying specifically the statement nudity leads to inappropriate behavior. I think that's a misconception. I mean, how many people like grew up seeing like their siblings naked? You know what I mean? Like that's not true. There's nothing sexual about that. You know what I mean? So I don't know if
I
that's
don't know.
really the case.
Holly says, my little girls don't need to see grown man junk.
They do not. I agree with you.
They do not.
Got a big ball.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Brandon says, public nudity is not a problem. Where did Megan find these freaks?
I want to say again, I never said that. I was specifically speaking about the laws in different states. I wasn't condoning
You're
or
going to be
agreeing with any of
explaining
them.
this for years to come.
I know. But if you're misunderstanding me, then that's okay. Like Amber says, it's just because you don't understand what I'm saying. And one day you will, and you'll go, oh, you'll realize that I actually wasn't giving an opinion and was weaseling out of it so hard that I played 3 fences at once. And once you realize that, then we'll be okay.
Sypha says, so he just wants to free naked people because he doesn't want to drop a few $100.
I cannot speak for Sean.
Brandon says, does Megan even know these guys? Why do they think people should show their junk to children?
Again, definitely never said that they should. They should not.
See that?
I
Both
will.
of them actually said that should not happen. Let me
They should
just.
certainly not do that.
How have I gotten you in this much trouble? Plasma says, our Constitution was made only for immoral and religious people. John Adams said that. Immoral and godless people abuse liberty. That quote is a real quote. And I do think that there is something to it, probably because the Constitution and many of the philosophies in it are based on the Bible. I actually have an entire book right here on my desk that I've used for research so many times. Look how thick it is. Oh my gosh. It's called The Christian Life and Character of the Civil Institutions of the United States. And I use it every time someone says to me that this country was not founded on Judeo-Christian ethics. It's the encyclopedia of all of the evidence that it absolutely was. However, I mean, moral and religious people, that definition is wide, right? I mean, that could define a lot of different people.
Yeah, this is the problem with all these kinds of things, is that what if it's a religion that is completely against your religion? And they think what they're saying is moral. Then you're just at a difference of opinion.
Then you're at a difference of opinion. So, I agree. Mike says, forcing nudity on others would have been classified as indecent exposure 20 years ago. Yeah, I agree with that.
Again, I agree. Forcing nudity on anyone is a bad thing to do, and no one should ever do it.
No one should ever do it. Renala says, people that take their kids to those parades should have their kids taken away. Well, I won't go that far. Because I've seen what happens to children in foster care, and it's really, really bad. And so I think they're probably better off with an idiot parent who takes them to an inappropriate pride parade than they are in the system. So that's how I feel about that.
Yes.
I'm just saying says it's not fair to expect people to avoid those who are naked in public regardless of behavior. Bingo. I like that. That's why no one should be naked in public, because those people who would be upset by it, there's no way for them to just know how to avoid all these naked people in public. Like, it's not, everyone's rights are violated at that point.
But it's not like you're standing in like the street and then you look around and every corner has a naked person waiting there for you to come their way.
It does
You
on
know what I
that
mean?
bike day.
That bike day.
Yeah, on the naked bike
Well,
ride.
and
And
body
in the
paint-
month of June, apparently in the month of June, you can just be naked whenever you want, everywhere, just
Hey.
running around and call it Pride, and it's fine.
I'll say this about the bike thing. I think the bike ride for body paint should have covering for,
Yeah, thank you.
genitalia.
What is so
And then
hard
painted
about
over that
Yeah,
part.
what is so hard about putting on some briefs and just painting those? Like, do you really
Yeah.
have to have your, and the idea of genitalia on a bike seat with nothing in between? How does that not? How does that work? I actually don't want to know. I'm sorry I asked. People are not
Look,
gonna tell me.
I wouldn't do the bike ride. I wouldn't go watch the bike ride. First of all, I hate cyclists anyways. And second of all,
This is
second
yet
of all,
another reason why we hate cyclists.
yeah, second of all, I don't really care about body paint. But yeah, I can go there with you, Megan. I would say briefs and pasties for everybody. And then do your
Thank
body
you.
paint.
Foxy Fox says flogging in the streets is what Inquisitor Megan Fox and I want. Yes, I've said it multiple times. I think people should be caned in the street for doing stupid things. I think Amber Heard should be our first one up on the block, and she should get like one of those paddle spankings, I think, and we should televise it. Yes, I'm a big believer in public spankings. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to disavow. I'm gonna go to the disavow check. Yep, gotta disavow.
Tanya says this woman has a real problem. She automatically associates nudity with sex and pedophilia. She seems disgusted by the human body. No, I'm not disgusted by the human body. I'm disgusted by everybody else's human body out there in the street. I don't want to see naked. And no, I don't associate nudity with pedophilia. I think if you're a nudist, I can kind of understand where you're coming from, but there are places that you can go to express that and be one with nature, but that are not on the public street, okay? That are not near people who don't want to see that. But no, I don't associate nudity with sex and pedophilia. But I do associate it with people who are maybe a little bit off. If you want to be nude in public in front of people who might not want to see that, I think there might be something wrong with you.
Yeah. I'm going to reiterate. I don't think anyone should be nude around children, okay? Just to make it clear. And no one should be forced to look at anyone's nudity. Glad you're all here.
Lightgiver sent another super chat. Thank you. He says, we've gone from one extreme to the other. It wasn't that long ago that anyone who took innocent photos of their nude children were charged. Do you know that actually still happens? So we are living in a strange time where it's like, on one hand, you have to be careful not to take a picture of your child in a bathtub because you could be charged with CP, and someone can turn you in for that. But at the same time, like, you can take your kids to the naked bike parade and nobody says anything, or you can take your kids to the BDSM parade going on at Pride and nobody says anything. So it's bizarre. It's bizarre. For sure.
Yeah.
All right. I caught up, so let me see what the new ones say. Go ahead, Gadfly. You were about to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say that, obviously the whole conversation of children makes everyone very uncomfortable. And I get why, because it's very contentious, because someone could say literally exactly what you're all saying and then get misinterpreted as I'm saying the opposite. But that's okay.
Right. Because
That's
like
okay.
everyone on this stream said children should be protected from adult sexuality. Literally everyone said that. So
Yeah, we all said that.
What is the point of a naked bike ride? Genuinely curious. Holly, that's a very good question. I have no clue.
Some people enjoy to wear less clothes and they like bikes. That's why. That has to be why. And they like body paint. I don't know. That'd be the
Wait,
reason.
did you send me a super chat? Because I didn't see it. You won't take my super chat because I have a different view. Well, I didn't see your super chat. I have been looking. So if you sent one and I missed it, just say it again without sending any money, and I'll read it. But I'm looking to see if I see it again, because sometimes that happens where they go by so fast that I don't grab them, and I'm not seeing one from you. So tomatoes are not a fruit. Tug fan, if you want to just repeat it, I will read it, okay? So the last one I saw was from Light Giver. I haven't seen anything from you. Gadfly exposed. Where is the naked bike ride? There's actually several of them. There's one in Boston, a big one in Boston, and I guess Sean just said there's one in Seattle. Because usually when it comes up, I always see something about it on the news, and I look at it and I think, this is just so weird. Yeah, and by the way, Foxy Fox, when people are saying like, "Oh, you just see nudity and you're putting it with sex and pedophilia," yeah, no, this is really more about the people who want to be nudists are never the people anyone wants to see nude, and not. Although it would not make a difference for me if they all had great bodies, I just don't want to see naked people in public. I really don't. But it is funny when you watch those things about nudist colonies. I know HBO had a couple of specials a long time ago about, maybe there was one. It was about this nudist colony, and I watched it, and I laughed through the whole thing because every single one of the people at this, there's huge bellies hanging out, and like, I don't know. It's just bizarre. To me, it's bizarre. I guess it's because the people who are into nudity just don't care. They just don't have any, they have no hangups, which might be a good thing. I'm not saying it's not a good thing, but it doesn't matter. We don't appear to have any nudists in the comments. They all hate them.
No, I'm not really into them either.
Okay. You be in your home naked around children, but you can't take them into public to see naked people. I am not naked around my children, but that's just something that I don't do. I don't know. I know some people are, and I don't care. But no, I'm not. Ralu says, Gadfly, when you have kids, you will understand better. I will say, having children does change your perspective.
I don't know what part of the kids thing I was disagreeing with anybody on, other than maybe the sex ed part. But
I don't think he did.
I don't think the sex ed thing had anything to do with me having kids or not, because I'm just, maybe it's even, I could argue that it's helpful I don't have kids, because I'm not trying to be naive to the fact that kids get up to sexual things when they're at a younger age than anybody wants them to. I don't want this to be the case at all.
Right,
and I
which
think
is why you should keep phones away from them and keep them under your watch all the time. Van Vidal says, Megan, have you seen Christina Aguilera and the Family Friendly Show? I did, and it's super gross. And you know what's funny about that? So Christina Aguilera performed at some Pride event with a huge green dildo strapped around her waist. And you didn't know this? You didn't see this? OMG, I'm not going to show the picture. I can't do it. I can't. If you want to see it, just Google it, but I'm not going to show it on this stream. It's just too gross. But what's interesting about it is that on her Instagram, she pixelated out the dildo. So isn't that interesting? She will pixelate it out on her own Instagram because I believe her children look at it. But she will perform that way at a family-friendly Pride event for other people's children to see that. Wow.
Yeah, again, a dildo is obviously sexual in nature. It has a sexual use, pretty much, only. It's used for one of two things. It's used for sexual reasons, or it's used for a joke because it's used for sexual reasons.
Right.
So obviously doing that makes a whole thing a sexual thing, which is,
and it was really gross.
I don't even have kids, and not what I would bring my kids to by any means.
ALR says, wouldn't a naked bike ride hurt your parts?
I would imagine so.
I would imagine so, because it hurts when you're wearing even those padded shorts. It hurts eventually after enough time. So no, I don't understand it. I never will. Blah says, I've been to Pride after parties, lots of nudity, but adults went there on purpose for that. Yeah, the after parties and stuff. This is a conversation that seems to happen every June where some people are like, Pride is not for kids. And some people are like, yes, it is. And it should be safe for kids. And then the other people who are saying, no, it's not for kids are like, no, this is adult entertainment and adults should be allowed to be adults and not have kids at Pride. I kind of agree with the adults who say this is not for kids. You should just tell people, don't bring your kids to this if this is the kind of debauchery and stuff you want to get up to. Rachel says, wow, now we've moved on to body shaming. Well, if you can't take a joke, Rachel, you're in the wrong place.
I think that that there should be. I mean, I wouldn't want to lump in Pride to only the sexual shows, only the sexually explicit things that happen at the shows or the parades. I do agree for sure that there should be separate ones. There should be a family-friendly one that is actually family-friendly, the same you see anywhere else.
But they keep saying these things are family-friendly, and they're not.
But I guess what my term would be, or my definition of the family-friendly thing would be just awareness to kids that, yes, there are some partners that are the same gender, and there you go. And there are a whole mix of other things that can happen in a relationship. A whole bunch of different people, and they love who they love, and that's what it is. Fine. And I think I think it's good to tell kids about that so they don't have so many questions and they learn things about the world and things like that. That's fine. But when it starts getting into sexual territory and what it means sexually to be in that relationship, that's where it gets weird. That's where it gets very uncomfortable and inappropriate.
Brandon has a great point. He says, I would agree with Gad if schools were actually teaching sensible sex ed, but they're not. Sex ed in schools today is degenerate and perverse. Now, I have an example of this.
Well, sure. I think we all agree that the sex ed should be good sex ed.
But see, people can't agree on what that is.
Well, I know. And that's kind of why I said that.
I think that what I said is perfectly acceptable, which is teach biology, teach reproduction, and leave all the other shit to parents to work out at home. But that's not acceptable to these people who are just determined that they're going to push their sexuality and their sexual morality, because everybody has a sexual morality, right? They want to push that on your kid. Now, look at this. I got to pull this up. You guys are going to love this. Now, this is part of a sex ed class in a 10th grade classroom in New York. Westchester High School and schools around New York. These are, he says, inappropriate, vulgar, and criminal sexual content needs to be banned from the classroom. Now, before you read these words, I want to ask you, what would happen to you in corporate America if you used any of these phrases in the workplace? I'm not going to read them out because they're really gross, but can you read those? Can you guys read those?
I can read them. I'm wondering.
This one in particular is unbelievable.
Yeah. Did they say how these came about? Like, was
Look at this?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what these sex ed teachers do. They try to be cool with the kids, and they're like,
and they ask them like terms that they've heard,
and
they write them on a board.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but adults are supposed to be the ones who are shutting down this kind of inappropriate, harassing talk, not encouraging it, not sharing it with other kids who may have never heard these phrases before. And also, have they never heard of sexual harassment laws? Because if you were to use any of this terminology in a workplace, you could be and will be fired. So how come it's okay to talk to little children like this, but you can't talk to other adults in the workplace like this?
Yeah, these are terms you should try to erase from these kids' vocabulary.
Yeah, not add to them.
No, not like here's some more slang to talk about. Yeah, it's not a.
This is gross. This is gross. Fact check. Catfly better be careful with his perverse views. He may lose custody of Catfly.
I might.
He doesn't.
Look, I'm just saying,
views.
and obviously
they're
everyone's
just teasing you now. They're teasing you now.
Everyone's school obviously could have been different, but in my 7th grade class, all of these terms were certainly said to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew them. We all talked about them. Girls would talk about crazy things. Guys would talk about crazy things. How many of them were just saying them to be cool? Most of them, for sure. But everyone knew the actual people that done things with each other and stuff like that, and it was like, oh my gosh, they're so ahead of us, sexually or whatever. This is a thing that, that these age ranges actually think about. And that's why I'm saying it's good to talk to them about it so it doesn't lead to more teen pregnancy. So it doesn't lead to more STDs. So it doesn't lead to all these negative consequences of having sex. And so they don't have a bad perception of what sex should be, or else they're going to learn it from pornography and think that that's what sex is. And that's not a good thing either.
Yeah, but see, our school systems are now teaching kids where to watch pornography. That's how sick it is.
Yes, and that is bad, for sure.
It's so bad, and no one can agree like what not to do. Foxy Fox says some bodies need to be shamed for their own sake. I agree with that. I think that obesity is terrible for you. It's going to kill you, and if you have that problem, you should not be fat. And I'm fat. I'm 30 pounds overweight, and I need to lose it because it's bad for me and it's doing bad things to my internal organs. And I think it's perfectly okay to tell people when they need to be healthier. And
I want to know, someone said I have it completely backward. What do I have backward? Explain it to me.
Who said that?
Joe Maridal.
Oh, Joe. Okay, let's see if I can find it.
Joe? I don't know. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I apologize.
Alley Cat says, I'm fat and I don't want to see fat naked people anywhere. Stop the body shaming BS. Oh.
I want to know how what
Dirk
I said
says
was
we need
wrong.
way more body shaming in society. By the way, if you want to hear some great body shaming, tune into Rekieta Law's overnight stream because people pay him good money to shame them. They pay him to fat shame them in a live stream, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. He's really good at it too. And you know what? If fat shame, this is why I say more shame is good for people. People respond to shame. Sometimes you might not be motivated to do what you should do and put down that extra piece of pizza unless somebody shames you out of it and says you don't need that extra piece of pizza. Have you ever seen a salad? You could use one. Sometimes that helps. It doesn't help to say you're fine just the way you are and you're just perfect just the way you are. Not if you're overweight and you need to lose it. It's not okay. I need to lose it. I need to lose it.
I think all of your bodies are beautiful.
Like Giver. I used to love her. She is now canceled. You mean me? Am I canceled? Yeah, I could be canceled. It's okay. It's all right. You can cancel me.
I want to know. Someone said, screw them if they can't take a joke, Gadfly. Well, I haven't said a joke in a little while, and I want to know I want to know what their reasoning is for saying I'm backward. First of all, I was describing my own junior high, so I don't know how that can be backward. But second of all, I want to hear why. And why haven't you responded yet? You taking a long time to write that paragraph? Come on.
Maybe he meant something else. I don't know.
Well, I know that's why I'm wondering, because there was no explanation. It just said you have it completely backward, but I have to know what it was.
Giver, I'm with you. I wouldn't even want to see a man or woman with fit bodies walking down the street naked. To me, it has nothing to do with body weight. I agree.
Yes,
me either.
We've covered this.
Don't.
I personally don't want to either.
Have I been interviewed by Jesse Lee Peterson? No, I have not.
Oh boy.
I don't even know who Jesse Lee Peterson is, I don't think.
Well, I don't know if I think I would say you probably shouldn't go on there unless you're going to. Never mind.
Unless I'm going to get canceled. Unless I want to get canceled.
Unless you want to get canceled, yeah.
Digger says, I've actually been losing weight thanks to Rekieta's shaming. I know. I think it does work for some people. Tina says, I need to be lazy shamed. All right, Tina. Why are you so lazy? Why have you not gotten up and got your work done today? Do you think someone's going to come along and do it for you? Have you paid someone to do this work you're not going to do? Is your house a mess? Is your laundry out of control? Don't be lazy. Don't be a lazy piece of shit sitting around doing nothing. You can get up and do something right now. You can take your headphones with you. You can actually do work while you're listening to your live streams. Did you know that? You don't have to sit on the couch like a lazy jerk. Did you know you could do that? You should be ashamed of yourself for not getting your work done. Be ashamed, Tina. Ashamed. And get up and get your work done right now. I hope that worked. There you go. And good luck.
That was so mean.
It wasn't mean at all. I need to get better at my shaming. My shaming's not on point. It's kind of boring for a shaming.
Jesse would destroy Gadfly. He absolutely would, because I couldn't stop laughing. That's what he says. Because everything he says is so crazy that I'm just like, it's hard to even like become angry at it. It's just so funny.
Oh, Tina is now blaming me for the laziness. She says it's because I need to do more article reading. She hasn't got her work done. That's true. I have been slacking in that. So maybe it's okay to shame me too. I need to get back to it, don't I? Now, Digger says, shoot, now I feel I need to do the chores. Yes, all of you should do your chores.
You should.
Oh, man.
Well, I was waiting for the response, but I never got one.
I guess maybe he didn't. Maybe he was confused about something. Maybe you didn't say something that was backwards. I didn't hear anything that was backwards.
Scared them away.
I didn't hear anything that was backwards, so I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, all I was saying was basically it's better to address the issues before they become issues, rather than saying that there's no way that, you know, that anyone in this age range could be doing anything with each other and that we shouldn't even talk about it, because they are going to learn it from other people.
No, they
you know
absolutely could. They absolutely could be. And that's why I think it's good to learn the biology of it and the reproduction of it. But I think the morality of it should be left to their parents, because every family has different sexual morals. Ellie Fant says, shaming doesn't work on me. It just motivates me to eat my feelings. Well, stop doing that. Don't eat your feelings. Go work out instead. Do some push-ups for your feelings. Instead, don't eat your feelings.
Yeah.
Like Giver, thank you for the super chat. Christina Aguilera, not you, Megan. This Canadian. Oh, you mean you canceled her? Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Got it. Yeah, she's canceled.
Yeah, I think that I definitely think that school should be fact-based. I think that everyone can sort of agree on that.
Fact-based. Yeah, not opinion-based. That's really good. And you know what else would help in schools? Is better food options. Let me tell you something. I've seen the gross stuff that they serve in public schools.
Oh yeah.
We had great food at my high school. We had like a full salad bar, and we had like really decent options, like almost like a Subway, like where you could order your own sandwich kind of thing. When I see what these kids are being forced to eat, I think, how could any of them think at all with this crap they're eating? It's all processed junk. And that would also help the fat problem in America if we would, offer more salads. Public schools should be abolished. Dirk, I don't disagree with you sometimes. Sometimes I think that that's true. Although then I think, what about people who can't afford school? Then what? Because that would suck.
Yeah, that would be a big problem.
I just want us to make it better. Yeah.
If you have two parents that, work 9 to 5 jobs and they don't have time to homeschool their own kids, then they have to basically hire a personal teacher to homeschool their kids, and then that doesn't really work out either.
No.
So there's a good use for public schools, obviously.
There is an argument, though, to be made that you could not go to school at all and probably do just fine. I think. I actually think that in
There's
this
certainly
day and
people that have
age,
dropped
our
out of school
standards
that have
are
been okay.
so much lower now. The standards have just dropped so low that I'm not even sure that schooling actually does anything at this point.
And also, when I said school should be fact-based, of course, I'm talking like elementary and high school for the most part. Once you get into stuff that has to deal with philosophy and debate team.
That's what college is for.
Yeah, that's when obviously,
That's really what college is for. There's so much general studies stuff to get through when you're in those lower grades that you don't need to waste any time on this opinion stuff. Teach them how to write an opinion article, but let them form their own. Like, you don't
I think
tell
it's
them
good
what
to do opinion exercises, and let the kids voice their own opinion. It's bad to be pushing your opinion onto kids. Let them make up their own mind. Or give them all the options. That's an even better thing that I would say.
Right. Yeah.
I would say when it comes to I don't even think that religion should be banned in school. I think you should just talk about all of them. And then if someone has questions more about one, then they can go ask their parents about that.
Well, again, and I think that one to me is kind of tricky in the lower grades. I think, again, that's a college thing. I took world religions in college, and it was a great class. It was terrific. But I think that's more of a time waster in high school when they don't know how to balance a checkbook. Like, can we teach them useful things in high school, like how to do your taxes and how to seriously balancing a checkbook would have been very helpful. And also, they used to teach home ec, where you would teach kids how to take care of themselves and how to cook and stuff. Those were extremely, and sewing extremely useful classes that they got rid of now. And frankly, I think, what are you doing? Kids need to know how to take care of themselves. They need to know how to cook an egg. They need to know how to make food and how to work a stove. And if parents, not all parents teach that stuff at home,
They need to know how to go to, when they live on their own or with somebody and they have an issue at their house, you can go to Home Depot and you can fix it.
That's right.
You know what I
Foxy
mean?
Fox says, if they write an opinion article, they will feel the wrath of our culture. That's right.
But
You're
yeah, I
not
mean,
allowed
it's
to
true.
have
Like most people learn how to do their taxes through like TurboTax or Cash App, basically. Because like, all right, let's walk you through this. Do these things. But yeah, if they actually taught them how to do certain things that are useful in everyday life. But you know,
Yeah.
that's why you should focus on your local politics, get changes made you want to be made. And I'm all for the differences of states. That's why I like America. That's why I think it's good.
Right, because you can move someplace where it suits you more
And
than
it's
other
not,
places.
yeah, it's not as difficult as moving to a different country, you know. You can just go to a different
Definitely.
state. And the states are very different from each other. So that's what
That's true.
I think it's good.
And I'm stuck here in the hellhole that is New York. And I will eventually get out one day. Hopefully, when we retire, I'm out of here. And I'm looking for some place to go that will be more in line with the way I want to live my life. And Tennessee is kind of topping my list at the moment. But I would like to go to Florida personally, but I think my husband doesn't like the weather. The weather there is too hot,
Yeah, it's pretty hot. It's pretty miserable.
too humid, too hot.
I would say I like where I live. I live near Dallas. I think it's good to live
Oh,
in
you
a
live near that crazy drag show that happened in Dallas.
right down the street. I know where that is.
Really?
Yeah.
Did it make the local news? Was it all a buzz when that happened?
I've mainly seen it just online in general, but it definitely, yeah, it's made news around here too. Although I don't really watch the local news that often, but I've seen it online for local things. But I think it's good to live near a city that's different than the state itself. I think it kind of balances it out. So since I live, in what you consider to be a blue city,
Yeah.
in a red state, it's kind of nice because you have both pretty intermingled with each other. And the same thing if you live in California, but you live in San Diego's pretty red because near a military base. So
Well, this is true because I live out in
kind
the
of a good
middle of
way.
nowhere in New York, rural New York, which is New York State, not New York City. And that, of course, is much, much better than living in New York City for me anyway.
Right, you're
Because
not
even though
in
I'm
the
in a
bubble
crazy
so much.
state, I'm not in any kind of bubble. And people out here are more like me. Not exactly like me because nobody's like me. But no one's as nuts as I am. But no, I do think that that's true. I just need to get to a state though where I feel like I'm not constantly paying for things that I deeply, deeply resent. That's really how I feel about New York. I feel like all my taxes go to things I disagree with, and so I don't want to do that anymore. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out this long. We're going to call it quits for today. I've got writing to do. I also have a meeting coming up for a podcast I'm working on, and that's going to be fun. Hopefully, we will have some good news here coming up soon about a true crime podcast I've been working on for a long time, and I hope to get somewhere with it. But these things take a long time, and so it's amazing how long they take. I've been in, I guess you would call pre-production of this thing for over a year now, but I hope, and it's a story by you in Texas, actually. I hope that we will be getting somewhere with that, and I'll have more news to share with you about that at a later time. And yeah, what are you up to? You got anything going on you want people to know about?
Yeah, I'll probably stream more on my channel. Please go check out my channel, youtube.com/c/gadfly channel. Van, don't say that I went to that drag show that everyone's been talking about. People are going to believe that, okay? I wasn't not there. I've been to a drag show
Wait,
before.
you just said I wasn't not there.
No, I was not there.
Okay, there you go.
And now someone else said I'm totally backwards. I want to know why. You can't just say, hey,
Well, now they're just messing with you.
you're backwards. Tell me why.
Now they're just messing with you. I dropped his YouTube channel in the chat, so you guys need to go click on that and make sure that you subscribe. What about the ice fishing thing? Any news? No news yet.
No news right now. And yes, I'm not getting into political things on my own channel. So if you don't like my political opinions, it's more social opinions, then don't worry about it because they ain't there.
Alicia, when does the Amber Heard thing begin? It's over, honey. We watched it a long time ago.
It begins about 2 months ago.
Guess what? The judge is back in the courtroom.
Yeah. Oh my God. Go back quick.
Oh my gosh. Clickety click. Don't forget to like the live stream and do better about clicking on my articles on PJ Media. If the numbers don't go up by tomorrow after all these people were in here today, I'm going to be really mad. So go clickety click on that article so I can get my numbers up and we can see if it's, hey, I should see if it's trending. Maybe we got it trending. Let me see. Nope. You guys are falling down on the job. I don't know what to say anymore.
I wouldn't trust you with a potato gun. I take issue with that. I've used potato guns many times.
Oh man, potato guns are dangerous.
They are. They're very fun though.
Very fun, but also don't stand in front of a potato gun.
No.
Because they come out really quick and they're really big and they will leave a very big bruise. Don't ask me how I know this.
Yeah. Okay.
My best friend's family used to have one of these. They're a big Italian family, and every holiday somebody would get the potato gun out and go outside and shoot that thing off. Hilarious. Oh, good. The chat is reporting they're going to go click on all my articles today. That would be great. You should also read them, but I can't make you do things. All right, everybody. We are out of here, and I'm going to play, of course, your favorite song because I know you want a dance break, don't you?
One day me and Megan will get into even more things we disagree about. Imagine.
That wasn't too bad of a disagreement.
Not
I was pretty disappointed with your lack of disagreeing.
We agree for the most part about the parts that are bad.
Right.
Yeah, we're like,
we
yeah,
do,
that's
though.
bad. Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
We agree.
that's bad. Like kids at these things are not a good idea.
I wouldn't do it for sure.
No. And you shouldn't do it either. Keep your kids safe. Go to the zoo instead, okay? Go to the zoo. Zoo
And
is
also
better.
raise your kids how you'd like to. Don't
Yeah,
let
but
anyone tell you that you're
not in that any of
bad
that
for-
degenerate crap, okay?
Well, yeah, other than that. Other than what I think is wrong, you can do
Other
whatever
than
you
all
want.
those things that I just told you are wrong. Don't do those.
Yes.
Do whatever you
But
want,
it-
but check
you
with
know.
me first, okay?
Yeah, check with us first, and then we'll let you know if you're allowed to do the thing that you're allowed to do. Okay? Good.
Perfect.
No, you're all great. I appreciated the disagreements in the chat. None of them were convincing to me, but if you want to try again next time, maybe you'll be more successful.
And on that note.